So we got green stream.
A green stream.
Green stream?
Hey, baby Raj, huh?
Hello, hello, hello. We're live.
No one's watching us yet. 15 seconds in and no watchers.
I'm looking for it.
I think our fans changed their mind about us.
I don't see anything showing up yet. Oh, live. Ah, there it is. Turn the volume down. Hey, I'm the only one in here today. Let's share it.
Oh, I guess now we need to go promote, huh?
It says 0 watching, but I'm watching.
There's one watching.
That's me.
I'll go promote us. Yeah. You're not seeing it? It took a minute for it to universal agent at tweet it? No, I haven't done it yet.
Welcome to Arts Only Picture Show Live. It's our 32nd episode. The year in review. 2018. The year in review. And what a year it's been. Lots of things have happened. Many of them nice things. Some of them not so nice things. Some things cool. Some things lame. Some things meh. Remember, you can say what's up in the chat, add your thoughts, contribute to the discussion. Just go down to the little call out that say live chat on your phone, next to the thumbs up and the thumbs down. Did I mention there's a thumbs up button? That's where you go and give us a thumbs up when you realize how awesome our content is. It's a way to say thank you. Thank you, our It's Only Picture Show. Another way to show your appreciation for us is tell your friends. Tell your friends to watch. And hit that subscribe button. And also hit the notifications. That way you can come and watch us. Because we are sometimes a couple minutes later than we intend to. No. Technical difficulties happen from time to time. Can be a pain in the butt. But what you gonna do? What can you do? You know, it's always a good thing to unplug and then replug. That solves most computer problems.
Try turning it off and turning it back on again.
Yeah, turn it off and then turn it back on. Always works.
It's easier with a computer than it is with a woman.
We got some new memes today to unveil on our intro here. We've also got the good old standby memes. Like that's a favorite. An old standby, but a goodie. If you just tuned in, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We got 5.
Tracy will be with us to do the year in review.
It's gonna be a year in review. Can you remember the last year?
Barely.
I sure can. And boy, what a year. Well, most of it. I think I slept for a large chunk of the year. Like probably 1/3 of 2018 I spent sleeping. But that's pretty standard. Sleep 1/3 of the day if you're lucky. I wish it was Wednesday. Oh wait, it is Wednesday. Woohoo! Woohoo! Gypsy Hustle says it's not working. Gypsy Hustle says it's not working.
We're yellow on the feed.
Can you see the memes, Gypsy Hustle?
Thank you for telling us. Let us know if we're getting just audio, no video. You toss any details in there.
working on my phone.
Yeah, Gypsy Hustle, have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again? Uh-oh. Oh, I hope our regular guest realizes that I dropped her a new link. Doo-doo. Doo-doo.
Sorry, this image does not exist. But hopefully, you guys can see it. Oh, that's a classic dick pic. Oh, Urania 235 says, I hear the irritating music and see revolving images with narration.
Awesome. Thank you for confirming that for us. And you're finding the music irritating.
You want to turn it up?
No. The MK Ultra is working. Trauma-based RX only picture show control.
Ha ha! It's a process.
I feel like I need to pin that right there.
Just put a pin in it. There it is. Pen it. Pen it up. Pen, I tell you. Should I text her?
She said to tweet her, but maybe we should. I assume she'll eventually figure out that she's got to redo it, but. It's going to be almost impossible to review this whole year without her.
Yes, sir. Reboot the robot.
Adam Moore wrote a song called The Robot Keeps Calling My House so long before all this AI stuff. How's that? Is that okay?
Can you guys see me?
You mean on the cam?
Yeah.
The reboot keeps calling my house.
Let me confirm, just to be absolutely sure. The reboot. That's funny.
The reboot.
No, you can't even see that speaker, so you're.
Chewbacca's.
You understand what I'm saying? She's deep in thought. You can't even see that.
I didn't know you were talking to me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It's okay. You can't even see that speaker, so you're fine.
Oh, okay.
But we are.
Did you call me a reboot?
No.
Oh, what's that?
Adam Lohr wrote a song called The Robot Keeps Calling My House, and Jim was saying The Reboot Keeps Calling My House.
Adam's music isn't irritating.
the right to their own opinion. I agree. It's it's beloved to me because I've been subject to it for many, many years, and I dare say I might have had an influence over whether or not Adam ever played music. Him having to suffer under me being his big brother playing music.
When I was young, Adam used to play me his music.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, welcome to the
We got
show.
13 people here. We're gonna flip away from memes and show you our beautiful faces shortly, but we are waiting for confirmation on the backside from, well, sometimes you're plus ultra and sometimes you're underground with the black sun, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah.
Our special guest is awaiting our secret hand signal down in Tartary as we speak.
That's retardery.
Retartary.
Retardery.
If you're tardy more than once, does that make you retardy?
Alright. Sneak past you because I'm gonna get some more of this stuff. Should we really review the year?
Might be time for another juice show pretty soon.
Don't look at the particle target now. Don't look at the particle target then. Don't look at the particle target ever, or you'll ruin the experiment. Don't look at the particle target now. Don't look at the particle target then. Don't look at the particle target ever, or you'll ruin the experiment. Maybe they'll find a Higgs boson. Maybe they'll find a new lepton. Maybe they'll find a polyhedron. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe they'll make a tiny black hole. Maybe they'll make a tiny white hole. Or maybe they'll create a rainbow hole and it will devour our galaxy. Don't look at the particle target now. Don't look at the particle target then. Don't look at the particle target ever, or you'll ruin the experiment. Don't look at the particle target now. Don't look at the particle target then. Don't look at the particle target ever, or you'll ruin the experiment. Maybe they'll find a Higgs boson. Maybe they'll find a new lepton. Maybe they'll find a polyhedron. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe they'll make a tiny black hole. Maybe they'll make themselves a white hole. Or maybe they'll create a rainbow hole and it will devour our galaxy. Don't look at the particle target now. Don't look at the particle target then. Don't look at the particle target ever, or you'll ruin the experiment. Don't look at the particle target now. Don't look at the particle target then. Don't look at the particle target ever, or you'll ruin the experiment.
Did we get Renee? No? Yes, no, maybe?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe yes, maybe no, maybe. Well, we've got 11 people waiting for us. Oh, and the music stopped. Oh, there it goes. All right, we're just going to roll through this one more song and see if we can get Tracy confirmed back on the line. And if not, then we will go live and do something until we can figure it out. No thanks. No, I don't want some lemonade. No thanks. No, I don't want some lemonade. Well, that's funny. I see some new memes, man. Check out the new memes, folks. We pulled down and threw out some old memes, and we uploaded for your viewing pleasure some brand new memes.
New memes.
Memes you might have never seen before. Original memes by Jem and I. It's kind of like The King and I, only it's every week on Wednesdays at, well, we say 7, but if you're a true fan, you know.
It's in the hour of
Hey,
7.
there it is. I see. Hello.
Hi there.
We are live.
Okay.
So, oh, I guess I should probably, okay, as soon as this song comes to an end, I'm gonna bounce us to on screen, but this is good
What's
enough.
the song?
This is Adam Lore. It's a song called, I think it's called Lemonade. This one's called Lemonade. Pink Lemonade. It says, wait, I think I'm changing my mind. I think I'm gonna have a glass of your pink lemonade. And people ask him if it's a double entendre, and he says no, and I'm sure he means it. All right.
Okay.
All right. Let's stop there. Ding-a-ling.
Ding-a-ling.
All right, let's close that window too. And back to OBS. Ladies and gentlemen, I am...
See that? This thing? You see this stuff?
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
see. I
That's
see.
these are the equipments I have for trying to pipe the phone into the computer so that we could have that as an element of shows where, you know, people could just call us and we could say, hey, and I want to be able to use the red phone. It looks cool, right? But it's not a necessity. If there's, you know, I can get over using the red phone and just use some other phone if there's a better way of doing it. But I'm just having the dangest time trying to figure it out. So actual telephony experts or people who've done soundboard wiring for like live radio shows, if you're out there, I could really use your help.
Man, I haven't heard that word forever. Telephony.
Telephony.
Telephony. Do you know the story of Hello and Ahoy Hoy, Tracy? Yeah?
No.
No? Okay, so like when the telephone first came out, there was like a debate between whether or not it was going to be Hello or Ahoy Hoy.
That you say when you answer?
Right. And
Okay.
so obviously Hello won out. And Hello apparently was not a very popular word prior to that either.
I mean, you're saying there was a debate like they competed with each other in culture, or did someone actually lay down a law about it?
Yeah, no, it was whoever,
Was it Edison?
was it Bell?
Bell.
I think Bell, is his name Thomas Bell? Whoever Bell was, I think it was Bell. I mean, we could Google it later.
Alexander,
Yeah, I
right?
think it was Alexander Graham Bell. Or it might have, you know, it seems like Edison might have had something to do with it. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat, Ryan Martin. Hi, Ryan. That's a longtime friend of mine and a pretty persistent listener. He's usually busy like doing work when he's checking us out. So so we haven't seen him for a while, so it makes me excited. And I'm doing one
I'm
more
excited.
thing here. Our chat was not working on the mainstream, so I'm gonna do a real quick technical thing, and then we're gonna.
Dragging the chat, huh?
You guys can go ahead and start. If you want to throw any idea out there about 2018, you know, loved it, hated it, forgot about it until just now, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still writing 2017 on the checks. It's because I only write checks a couple times a year.
Yeah, that happens.
So this NPR says it was I just had it. Thomas Edison, you're right.
Thomas Edison.
Oh, for the ahoy
Yes.
hoy thing?
Made the decision about hello. Yes.
Because
Okay.
I've got one brother, not Adam, but a different brother, who actually pretty consistently answers the phone ahoy hoy, and I think that's really funny.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, we should all switch over to Ahoy Hoy.
Switch over to ahoy hoy.
I'm gonna just say Chips Ahoy.
Chips
Yeah, I
Ahoy!
like
Chips Ahoy Hoy.
You say ahoy hello. Hello?
I usually
hello?
say
hello?
what?
I guess if you say that, you sound like an Australian.
Ahoy Hoy sounds nautical. Like,
Don't they say something like moish or something in Japanese?
Ooh,
know what I'm talking about?
That's a great question. Moish, moish.
mush mush?
They say, well, I know this because of a Japanese movie I watched once where they kept saying it. So it's something like that. I want to know.
Yeah, now I'm really curious. Moish, moish. That's bad.
Yeah,
That's-
it sort of has
that's
that moist.
Yeah.
Feel.
I'm not a person that hates the word moist, but there is a lot of people in the world that really do not care for the word moist. So I'm
Like
sure.
moist ointment.
Whoa, Jim. Whoa, Jim. You don't have to change the, bump this from PG-13 to R and change the parental settings. Moist ointment.
Yeah.
Mushy mushy.
Is that it?
Oh, Gypsy Hustle says, that says mushy mushy.
Mushy mushy.
Mushy
Hey,
mushy.
An American One
Okay.
always says
Mushy.
it's real plus ultra hours. Who up? We up. We up in
We
here.
up.
What up? What up, chat? Mushy mushy.
Moshi
Mushy mushy.
mushy mushy.
Mushy mushy. Hi, Jim.
We'll say
Hi,
that.
Jesse Deshawn. Mushy mushy. How you? Better be careful. So, I have the DMs, and we had our little lists. So let's go back up to my first list. Oh, by the way, Tracy, just as an aside to you specifically, a screen cap of QAnon saying that the Earth's not flat is not good enough. That's not.
That doesn't
That's-
prove it to you.
That's not even close. But we're not going to digress into that, but just I didn't get a chance to answer privately there, so I thought that was really funny though. One time
too.
Jem sent me the emoji of the globe in text, and he
Yes.
actually wrote proof that the Earth is a sphere, and just sent me the globe, and I replied like, thanks, I feel so much better now. And that's like one of our memes in the intro of the show. Like if you really watch, that's one of the memes.
It's a new intro meme.
So on my list, I'll just read it out, and then we'll go through yours too, and then we'll just like dartboard at this, like figure it out. I had the trans agenda, school and other fake shootings, fake,
Fake.
allegedly fake. Some people think that. Supreme Court, just is calf and all. I don't know why I wrote it like that, the phonetic language. Me Too, Pizza and Pizzagate, AI robots, Russia, QAnon. So those are some ideas. And if you're in the chat and one of these sticks out for you, like you want us to start, you have to lift up your fingers and raise your voice and tell us. So, let's go on. Go ahead.
Let's see now. Okay, so I'm going back up to your list here so that I can also. Yeah. Okay, so we could just start off, I think, with Pizzagate because it's real weird, and it's a nice place to start. And we talk about that all the time anyway. So I had made a little a list and well, I called it a list of subgates because basically it seemed like this was the year in which Pizzagate exploded into various subgates. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
No, but this was on your
Because-
list. Did you have something specifically you wanted to start off with?
No, I mean the list was just to throw it wide open because I figured this improvisational process of us bouncing it around should bring us somewhere. Like when you said subgates, I immediately thought of Elsagate, which I don't usually like barge into what I would call Normieville and try and alert them to anything anymore. Like way back in the day, I used to do that. Like, you've got to watch these 9/11 videos. Oh my
Yeah.
God, you won't believe it. And then when like nothing changes, or they're like, you ruined my life. So I
I don't-
stopped doing that kind of stuff. But Elsagate, I felt compelled to tell people who had young children, like, you need to be paying attention if your kid's got the iPad or their phone and they're
Yeah.
looking on YouTube to see, you glance over their shoulder, it looks like maybe they're looking at a regular, like, oh, look, it's Spider-Man in, not a cartoon, but like somebody wearing a Spider-Man costume. And you watch for another 5 minutes, and here it's like Spider-Man impregnating Elsa and then like giving birth to a bunch of balls like in the ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese and all this horribly inappropriate shit. And so like that I stopped looking at it. Like, I went and did a little bit of preliminary searches and started to correlate and do some connect the dots, and I was just like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Because I was getting pissed off, like, because Disney, if you know anything about Disney, they're absolutely vigilant in their enforcement of copyright. I mean, we like one time we couldn't find something we were looking for. This was a long time ago, but we torrented something, and we had torrented stuff on and off, not collecting big stuff, but every once in a while, like, grab a movie back in the day. And that was the only company that ever, like, sent our ISP a letter, or had our ISP prompt us, like, if you do that again, we're going to have you talk to our lawyers. So to me, it's like, okay, having that anecdotal personal experience and then finding video after video where it's not like a one-off, it's Disney characters. Some of it's actual, like, edited real Disney content, and it's just flying. It's on there. It's probably still on there now. If you go look up Elsagate, #Elsagate, you'll find a whole bunch of just nasty, inappropriate stuff targeting children with, like, brainwashing and sexual grooming videos is what I would call it,
Well, you'll find, if you look up Elsagate, you'll find out videos of people exposing it. And I would say this is a year where it got way bigger exposed than before. And it's because there's a legitimate concern for children that's obvious, that anyone would have once they start getting into this, just like you described. I've noticed the normal resistance to talking about conspiracy theories is overwhelmed by people, and they don't mind talking about it. And I saw some fairly mainstream and balanced news outlets talking about it, but I don't think any of them they haven't really figured out what it's about yet. And you're right that, like, YouTube's or just in general on the internet, there's so many, like, AI robots scanning for copyrighted content and stuff. So surely they would have noticed these things before, and the owners of the copyrights of the characters would complain. But more than that, also YouTube, obviously they've rolled it out this year. They have so much technology at their fingertips to figure out the content of whatever your video is, what the flavor of it is, what concept you're talking about, and they're happy to censor concepts and ideas that they don't agree with. They have quite a broad list of those things now,
And they find them easily.
Yeah, they find them almost immediately. I mean,
The stuff they want
Yeah.
to censor. You think they'd be
So
able
it's
to
like-
find that stuff, the Elsagate stuff. It's like they almost know it's out there and just ignore it.
Well, they do. Well, what YouTube does is they use their AI to target videos that are made by people who are concerned, who are exposing it, and then they shadow ban. I don't think that they very many times have they actually taken it down. Well, actually, I think there have been a few. There have been a few, but they definitely shadow ban any stuff about that. And I felt like I got some backlash myself from stuff that I found this summer, and really a lot of the stuff that I found this summer was specifically content on YouTube, where it looked like they were sort of covertly proffering children and videos of children, and one of the things I discovered while I was in there, that's when I kind of figured out that's what a lot of these Elsagate videos are about. And what was funny was that I hadn't noticed it before. I've been seeing these videos for years. And it was only in the midst of that research that like my eyes suddenly broke from sort of this hypnotic trance that I think people go into, or especially the kids, when they're watching these things. So like all of a sudden, I remember hearing like a kind of a hypnotic suggestion in my mind of, I saw all these weird comments in the video, this Elsagate type video that I was watching.
Right.
And like my mind said to myself, or someone said to me, or I either said it to myself or some other voice said in my mind, a hypnotic suggestion said, "Oh, don't look at those. It's not important."
Oh.
And then I caught myself at the end. I'm like, why am I saying that to myself? And then I finally looked, and it was all full of these bizarre codes. Things written in emoji, and then
Right.
I noticed some code words that I was starting to recognize from the research I was doing about types of inappropriate videos of children. They have code words and they're very categorized, and people will put into the comments what they're looking for, and then
Right.
the
Because they're
person running
shopping,
the
exactly.
channel will respond. Huh?
So because they're shopping, right? And just, I mean, if you guys are just tuning in or you haven't tuned in the past, if you're new and just found us, this is definitely an area that all of us have done a reasonable amount of research, and I would say Tracy an extensive amount of searching and correlating. So this isn't like it's not really wild speculation at all. We're talking about years of practiced identification of things, and the reason we're being somewhat vague too is because it actually did cause Tracy some serious problems. It looked like she had identified enough information for people to take note of her. So we're not going to tell you. I mean, I wouldn't if you want to, Tracy. I don't care. It's not like I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But I know that mentioning the very specific things that because I watched the videos, I remember, but I don't see any reason to specifically bring them up.
Well, no, because we're doing our list of Pizzagate subgates that emerged
Right.
bigger than ever this year, or for the first time. And so some of the other things I put on that list, and tell me if any of this pops out at you. We had, okay, so it started out really with Isaac Cappy accusing Seth Green. That then turned into Donut Gate shortly after that.
Yeah,
really,
that was with Voodoo Donuts in Portland.
Yeah.
The magic's in the hole.
Right around the same time, James Gunn gets in trouble for tweeting pro-pedo stuff, pro-pedo jokes.
James
And
Gunn's
he's friends with Seth Green. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. Well, and so in case people don't know, so let's see, Seth Green. What's he most famous for?
Robot Chicken. He was in Austin Powers. He was
Yeah, he was
Dr.
the
Evil's
kid
son.
that was
Right.
like the assistant.
Right. Okay, that's the most famous thing. And then so
I would say, yeah.
and then James Gunn is a huge movie director. I mean, we're talking Guardians of the Galaxy. That's the main one that sticks out to me. That's right, isn't it?
He's part of that whole milieu too. With he's pretty tight with that DeSalvo guy that we were talking about in the previous show
Right.
that did the Jeepers Creepers movie. So they're all part of a group of people that have the same kind of humor.
Yeah, that guy was. God, that guy tripped me out. DeSalvo. Like I'm so astounded that he was convicted of pedophilia and is still out here making movies. Like
I know.
Like what the fuck? But and if you haven't looked, folks, if you've never seen the screen captures of the tweets, not from I don't remember, there wasn't any tweets from Seth Green, was there? There wasn't any like weird tweets from Seth Green.
Not that I'm aware
Not
of.
so much. It was
But
it was
Gunn-
Cappy claiming that he had personally had these conversations with Seth Green and Green's girlfriend live-in girlfriend in which it had been implied using code words and pregnant pauses, and he even said that there was a lot of visual communication with the eyes, and he said that Seth Green was basically telling him that he and his girlfriend like to do stuff with kids and film it, and basically, do you want to be in on it or something like that? And he even said that a few days later he got an explicit offer to join the Illuminati that was put in front of him by it was put on his Facebook. I got the impression from what he was describing, it was kind of like his Facebook had been taken over, kind of like some of the stuff I experienced this summer where I actually got my computer and things on it hacked. Fake websites basically served to me. And that's what Cappy said. It seemed like he was describing when he said that the Illuminati offered him membership and offered him like $200,000 and a new car if he would join. Wow. But they offered him through a Facebook ad that he thought had been put in front of him specifically at that exact moment.
Yeah.
And it was right after Seth Green had made this statement. Okay, so this is what Cappy comes out and says earlier this year, which I think what happened July or something. Let's
that
find
seems
out.
about right. Now, was Cappy around before that? I'd never heard of the guy, and honestly, I don't trust him. I think he's totally... I'm not saying that maybe some of what he's saying isn't true. It's very much potentially true, but I just don't... The vibe I get off of Cappy in general is, like, not good. He seems...
Well, what's interesting is what came out after he had been making the rounds for weeks of... went on Alex Jones, and he went on Lift the Veil, which is this YouTube channel that has exploded this year. He went on several truther channels and told not only his story, but was trying to get people to write to him and tell them their stories, and he's trying to integrate with the whole community and become involved. But after he'd been doing that for a while, some investigators found out that he had taken a photo with David Brock, who is the ex-boyfriend of James Alefantis, the owner of Comet Ping Pong,
right?
The ground zero of Pizzagate, and then he's
David
involved
Brock
with,
is a huge Democratic.
Media Matters.
Yeah, Media Matters. I mean, so there's another big group that's just like that. I don't know if that's Brock too, but it's like the not blue wave, but whatever. These are huge coalitions of online leftists that are going around and they're like actively correlating and promoting and mobilizing as a group,
Yes.
to fight the right, because that's the... In case you guys haven't noticed, there's a huge battle going on, and it's not what we would call grassroots or organic. They're not even trying very hard at all to make it look like it's grassroots or organic. Now, I'm going to read a couple comments real quick here, Tracy, because it seems
Go ahead.
relevant. So we've got Cody Ivy. Welcome to the chat. Cody says, I don't know how Macaulay Culkin is running around sounding like the pedo lord with bunny ears on talk shows. True, yeah, I've seen that. Harrison,
it's kind of creepy.
I don't know if I recognize Harrison either. Welcome, man. Glad to see you in the chat. It says, Cappy and Seth have revealed a hidden children's quarters behind a bookcase at the end of a party. Cappy was after James Gunn. Cappy said he took a pic with David Brock to make him uncomfortable. Okay, so interesting. So, all right, so either it's been confused or he's doing damage control. Like, oh, well, I was just trying to, make David Brock uncomfortable.
So I was kind of thinking about the whole gate thing. It's kind of a sidebar, but adding gate to the end of a word, it's to say that there's a conspiracy or a controversy there. Doesn't it come from the Watergate situation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't call it. It wasn't the Gate Hotel. It was the Watergate Hotel. So you're just kind of there's like no literal gate involved. So I think it's kind of odd that people add the word gate to like Pedogate or...
Oh yeah, it's been going on for years too. What was the one with the Clintons? The next biggest gate after
Whitewater?
Watergate? No,
Whitewater.
Yeah, Whitewater is something else, but there was another gate. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We don't want to digress too far. But
Yeah, what was it? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it was like, was it Monica? But I don't remember what they called it.
yeah, it's okay. We can either Google it or it'll pop up later.
I'm sure we'll think
See,
of it.
and Cody says, have you guys seen Alex Podesta's bunny rabbit pictures? No, I don't think so.
No.
So
Who's Alex Prudent? Which one is he?
Yeah, that's a good question. Who's Alex Podesta? Maybe we'll have to.
And like Jack Spade wore the bunny mask after his wife hung herself. With With the.
It was a mouse mask. It was
mouse mask,
the
oh.
mouse from The Rescuers, the Disney film.
That's right.
Oh, that's right.
Now, returning to the Cappy thing for a minute, if you don't mind my going back there, the stuff that he said about Seth Green, even though I agree with you that I think it has a strong vibe of being a setup, and I don't know what the ultimate purpose is, but there are some interesting things about Seth's work, particularly if you take into account, Cappy himself has mentioned repeatedly the code word chicken. And robot chicken, if you think about it, it's like even the intro is showing you a chicken being taken from the streets and then, set up with like mind control equipment, essentially. It's like it's subjected to torture. It has things embedded in its body, and then it turns into like a robot chicken, kind of an android sort of thing.
Do you think if we played that, we'd be risking copyright strike or not?
I think yes, possibly. And here's another thing though that you could play too is there's an old Mickey Mouse cartoon, like from the first few years of Mickey Mouse, where pretty much the exact same thing happens to him. So it looks like this is what Seth Green was parodying when he did the intro to Robot Chicken.
Is that where he's like kidnapped by the secret society?
No, it's a different one. I think it's this. He gets kidnapped by an evil doctor who wants to do experiments on him. So I'll try to find it here for you. But anyway, yeah, I thought that the Cappy thing. This is what's so weird about these things. Like Cappy seems untrustworthy. And so another thing that came out about him is that he's connected to this company called Troma Films that's also associated with the people that own the building that Voodoo Donuts is in, which shortly after Cappy came out, the stories about Voodoo Donuts started coming out, that people claiming, or specifically one guy, Vegan Mikey, claiming that he was aware of actual child trafficking happening via Voodoo Donuts, which is a cash-only business, I might add, and right in my backyard.
I didn't know that. Well, I've never been in there.
With.
Wow, so I didn't know it's. Do they have how many locations do they have, Tracy? Do you know?
I think they've expanded to a couple other cities now, and they used to have one in the airport, but I don't think it was there last time I was at the airport, so I think they might have closed that.
I didn't know they were cash only. That's nutty. That's crazy. Yes,
and then, they do have some amazing imagery. There's lots of, X-rated and gay stuff on the donuts, and then there's the logo itself is supposedly, not supposedly. It looks exactly like one of the boy love symbols that the FBI
I remember that.
Alerted us to. So those are all very interesting, and I've heard a lot about the people that own the buildings that in question, like the Paris Theater's right next door. It's owned by the same people, and my deceased husband used to work there. And he told me a little bit about like Russian mafia involvement and stuff like that. So none of this surprises me too much. But what's interesting is he mentioned that they're smuggling people through these old Shanghai tunnels that go right underneath that building, and then also the Dante's Inferno, that bar that's right across the street there in Portland. Have you ever been to these places, Sean?
No, Jim's
Sorry.
been in Portland
Jim.
more than I have. I mean, I've hung out downtown back in the day in Portland if we hit a show or something. So I may or may not have been to any of these bars, and I do not necessarily remember.
Voodoo Donuts is always packed when the bars let out. There's a line going around the corner. At least when I went to there.
There's a line around the corner. I mean, last time I checked, anyway, there was a line around the corner at all times of the day and night.
Yeah, that's
And
a lot
then,
of
like,
cash.
people, on a Sunday morning, you can see all these yuppies with their children standing in line out there, and then there's like homeless people, asking them for money and performing for them right next to them. And it's a really, because it's a very it's pretty rough part of town, really. It's right next to the homeless shelters there on Burnside and stuff. So
that was I did catch a little bit of the part where and I threw a very interesting donut up on the screen here.
I'm not seeing any of this stuff. I need to
Screen-
I need to tune in here.
Maybe I should screen share for you here. Let me go back to the Hangout and screen share. So I should have done that earlier here.
Yeah, I was.
I pushed the
if
wrong
I seemed
button.
distracted earlier, it was like I was trying to send you pictures, but I didn't realize that you were showing pictures. So maybe I don't need to do that.
Share screen.
I'm sorry, Sean. I mean, I tried to make these montages, but I just could not do it in time.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. Like I think what we lack in canned production, we make up for in just the vibe of the thing, man. Like we're obviously pulling off something, otherwise people wouldn't tune in or they'd yell at us in the chat, and they don't. They're like, ooh, ooh. So I figure, it's good, and as we move forward, obviously, if we can get a little bit more planning and eventually get a little bit more money in our pockets by selling some, hawking your wares and me and Jim coming up with similar stuff, then, sky's the limit if we do that. So, but this one donut that I loaded up, are you seeing that now, Tracy?
I think that's our logo.
I am. Okay, so yeah, that's.
I mean, that's like all of it. Like that's, if you guys are familiar with these FBI's published images of symbols that are supposedly, the only thing missing there is the butterfly ping pong motif.
Especially if you see the blue one that's on the right, is one of the other pictures.
Yes,
that's the classic one. Like they've done all these other colors too, but that's the one that's on their sign, and that is the one. A blue swirl like that is the one that's in the FBI catalog.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna drag it up because I assume most of the people listening are probably somewhat savvy to this stuff. But if you've never looked it up, look up Pizzagate FBI pedo symbols, and it's legit. It's not in question whether or not those were images. There's a whole list of images published by the FBI that say when we're searching for child sex trafficking, pedophilia, child porn, these symbols are things we're looking for that they use as a symbolic marker to signal one another. And it's that symbol right there specifically is the one that you see the most, is that swirl. And then this teeth with no nose and the eyes is another one. And there's like kids wearing costumes that look like this. There's all kinds of, if you want to not sleep well tonight and you've never done it, just go Google James Elefantis Instagram. And then you'll start to understand why people are pissed off about Pizzagate. But, I'm digressing. What I started to say was I did catch a little bit of I didn't watch much of the streams, but I caught a little bit of the drama surrounding Trauma. If people don't know, Trauma is like most famous for the Toxic Avenger, really super kitsch, like horror B movies, and always right on the edge of like soft porn, And I know that whoever the main producer is, I don't remember his name, but he definitely pushed back and was like losing his shit and, not keeping his cool, like screaming, F you and you call me this, you call me that, I'm going to come after you, you'll hear from my lawyer. And like, so there was, he reacted in a way that I considered it suspicious. I don't remember his name. There was a gate there too, Trauma Gate,
Well,
Traumatic.
I don't know if they're involved in any trafficking or whatever. I mean, that remains to be seen about any of these guys.
Yeah, I'm
And
not
what's-
accusing him. I'm just saying that they definitely reacted. I remember that,
But I would say the thing that's closer to them actually being accused of is, running a psyop. And that is the sort of thing that would go along, I would think, with a company like that. You know, that I could see them, a company that makes B horror movies, you know, doing kind of their own, you know, wag the dog, their own
Yeah, of course.
manufactured news story, at the behest of, you know, maybe friends in the Democratic Party like David Brock, who they're like, okay, well, we have this issue with the, you know, the pizza companies that are named in Hillary Clinton. Of action is to be taken eventually, this will make that much less likely to happen. You know, you could spoil the jury, and also you spoil the judge too. You spoil everybody involved, where they're already thinking, okay, this is stupid, because they've already heard about it so much.
Right.
So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and I think that's true, because they're always way more steps ahead than the average person imagines. You know, they know how to get the outcome they're looking for, and they don't. We've seen time and time again, they don't really have a great concern for morals, ethics, or the law, you know, in general. And I mean across the board, not specifically about Pizzagate stuff, like in general, you know, the government, large corporations, all the people at the top, like big time judges and lawyers, they all play this really intricate game of, you know, how to get what they want, period, you know. So I agree that I think we're seeing a very managed bring out. We're seeing limited hangout after limited hangout after limited hangout. And it makes me think of that Steve Outram. I watched, I know I said this to you privately, and I know Jim listened to most of it with me, but Steve Outram put out a 4-hour presentation called GovLARP, hashtag GOVLARP, like the government LARPing. And, you know, LARP stands for live action role play. And he describes Cappy, he describes, you know, he's talking about Craig Sawman Sawyer. I don't know if you guys have you seen this guy?
Oh yeah, he's like an FBI guy or former FBI
Yeah,
guy,
he's like
or
a federal
Navy SEAL or
cop.
something.
Yeah, exactly. Ex-military, supposedly retired military. I mean, he's got confirmed. It's like it's either on Wikipedia or like published on his website that he's worked for all these like Blackwater-esque intelligence operations and mercenary ops.
Yeah, you know the Northeast Intelligence Network, and Doug Hagman is the main personality there. I don't even know if they call themselves that anymore.
Say
Doug
it again.
Hagman.
The name Doug Hagman sounds familiar. What was the company?
Northeast Intelligence Network.
Yeah, I don't think
They
I've
used
heard
to
of
have a
that
very
one.
swastika-like symbol, but he would come out and say, that he was an intelligence expert and part of.
Me doing it. So that should give us sound back. And
Oh.
and this mic over here on the other swipe that I had. So give us a one or a thumbs up or a confirmation in the chat there, please, folks, that the sound is back if you can hear us. I think I see the problem. I'm just gonna confirm here real quick that one of our scenes that we use to change back and forth to, it looks like the mic is turned off. So I'm trying to fix that right now. Just if we switch back to it again. So. Sorry for the
3-hour
technical
sound
difficulties.
check.
No, that
It's
was
not going to be that bad this time.
that was last night. Just as long as Tracy's not hearing an echo, we don't have to get out the ropes and hang them from the pipes down here in the basement. So I'm just looking here to make sure. Where's the mic? Do you
See, they're joking because we spent about 3 hours last night trying to solve an echo.
Yeah. So that should be it, right?
Now try the fade and see if it works on the transition.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back and test and Right. So we'll stick
Oh,
with.
it just started working.
Did it? Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Try one more time. Okay, it's not working.
Okay.
So that's all right. We'll just stick with this one. We're going to avoid the RX2 cams scene, and then you guys will actually be able to hear us. I'm sure we look great.
We're just going to turn it off and then turn it back on.
Yeah, no, I think we're all right now. So we'll just avoid that swipe so that we don't lose sound.
Wiggling the wires
Let's,
can be dangerous.
Let's see.
There's,
Is that one?
you-
Let's swipe to that and just make sure. Is that giving us some sound? We've got
yeah,
sound
that's
there.
working.
Okay.
Well, let's just stay in these two different.
Yeah, we will we'll use safe mode here.
Do you want me to monitor the broadcast here for a minute?
No, I think we're all right, Tracy. I think whatever the main screen that we have that had, we had the Plus Ultra badge up there for a little while. We replaced it with your cam. For some reason, the mic's not coming in on that one, so I just won't use that scene when I fade or transition between scenes, and we'll be fine. And thank you very much to the chat, and especially
thanks, guys.
to Luckily for giving us the heads up, so we're not just like having a great conversation live that you can't hear, because that would suck.
So Cola Blade said that we were about to slam dunk just as the sound went out. Wonder where we were with.
Well, we were talking about and what the phone call I got said that right when we started to talk about the Clintons' involvement, and so that would have been right about the time of they probably missed everything we were saying about trauma, and that right about there. So
It's Speakergate 2018.
Well, and part of what we were saying, I guess, to without completely trying to rehash it, the speculation is that people are intentionally bringing out and muddying the water about this information so that it potentially ruins the possibility of prosecution if it does go to trial or become involved in legal issues, and that it also contaminates everyone's, it like puts a negative association in everyone's mind, so that obviously the three of us are definitely people, and a lot of the people in the chat are of the mindset that maybe there's some credibility here. There's at least some very suspicious and strange circumstantial evidence that a lot of people in the world are like, whoa, that's messed up, that's weird, that's nasty, what is that? But the people that don't look at things like we do, maybe they see it, it's now been negatively associated with false accusation or even more outlandish claims than what some people are looking at, and so then it gets a negative association. People think, oh, that's just nonsense, that's bullshit, that's nutty, Pizzagate is not real, right?
And muddied up search results, so you can't find anything that's actual information.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
find
that was a lot of the problem with the montages I was trying to put together here at the last minute. I mean, I didn't give myself enough time for sure, but also it was like, I'm just trying to do a Google search for pictures that I know exist, and trying to find news stories to do screenshots of. And, I'm using very specific terms that should bring it up right away, and I'm just finding total junk,
Right.
And then a lot of, it's either irrelevant completely, or it's, the MSM whitewash article about it.
Right. And you see that all the time in this kind of research. Constantly you see that. Like a great example that I've seen just in the online media in the last few days is that people have been doing screen captures of Google versus another popular search engine called DuckDuckGo. And if you type in Hillary Clinton EM on DuckDuckGo, it prompts email, Hillary Clinton email scandal, etc., etc. And on Google, it gives you emoji or anything but email. But then, so they did also further searches, so if you put Donald Trump EM, it pops right up email. All these other politicians or notable figures in the world, if you type their name plus the letters EM, you get email. You do it for Hillary Clinton on Google, and you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, we could actually test it live, because I just realized we're actually still on the shared commentary, so I can do it real quick, just since we're...
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So here we are in the Google search engine, and we can Control A to highlight. Hillary Clinton E. Now look at there. Now it popped up emails first thing. So,
Of course.
So that makes me wonder. Maybe
They're
this
listening.
Maybe this is an example of what we were just talking about. Maybe someone's publishing these screen captures and creating this little tiny fake news episode of this. Like, if you try and even look for Hillary's emails, it doesn't pop up. And then you go try it, and it's like, no, it pops right up. Emails. What are you guys talking about? So it's classic mud in the water tactics, this is.
Could be, yeah. There's a similar thing where it's like if you try to look up white baby or white family or
Yeah, I've heard
white
of that
history
one too.
or anything, then you actually get all results about black people.
Yeah,
Oh, try that one.
I've seen that one too. So if we type in white family, push enter, and go to image search. See,
Oh.
yeah, and so here we
Now-
definitely get white families. These are, man, that's a great picture there. That's good.
Would it be troublesome to screen share with me the
Oh no, yeah, I'm sorry.
stuff
Casey.
you're showing people? See, yeah, look, I do think that your smartphone and obviously we're talking into the internet right now directly. Anytime the internet hears you, Google is adjusting its results based on what they think you want, or in this case, I've had it happen before where it's running away from me as I'm trying to catch it. Basically, I'm trying to catch it in the act. So it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to do it now while everyone's looking. I've seen it happen. It's real. It adjusts itself automatically. So,
Yeah.
see, yeah, there's no way you could. This is not normal. This is not normally what you get when you look at this. I know that everybody has their own results too, based
It's
on
true.
their preferences, but it's not unusual at all in my experience for Google to adjust itself on the fly at the moment, especially if you have a lot of people watching or anybody watching, or if it knows that you're about to try to screen capture something.
And it sounds nutty, but I mean, I've done it. I know that you and I have mentioned it before, and I've heard you talk about it, that I've had more than one experience of Google absolutely appearing to read my mind. Like, I'm not talking, I'm not near my mic. I mean, most of us have experienced the whole, like, microphone correlating to your
ad pop-ups.
your ad feeds, your microphone definitely will hear what you're talking about and say, oh, you're thinking about buying some black leather pants? Well, here's some on sale on Amazon.com, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had it where I'm just thinking about something, and an hour later, it's in my Google feed. Like, okay, that's freaky. What the hell? And so one time you think, oh, that's a strange coincidence. Like, consistently enough that it's happened dozens of times over the course of the last year or two. Weird. Like, what the hell, Google? Like, how are you reading my mind? What do you...
Yeah, or if your phone's like in the other room and you're in your dresser and you talk about something and it somehow knows.
Oh yeah, I had it happen to me. I was literally in the river with a scuba diving mask on at this little place, this little hidden place we go swimming, and there's some small waterfalls, and I was diving deep, and I made a joking comment in the rush of the waterfalls. Obviously, I don't have my phone in a waterproof case with me. It's over piled in our stuff. And then later, what we were talking about under the waterfall is the first thing in my ads on Facebook. It's just crazy. And I'm like, how the hell could this be? I didn't bring my phone in the... I mean, I am on my phone too much, but I didn't bring it into the river with me.
Harrison thinks it's white couple.
White couple? Oh,
White
okay.
couple.
Let's try one more search just to see. Well, so there you go.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Harrison's. Thank you very much, Harrison. I mean, that's just it's kind of weird. A lot of people are using Google specifically because they need stock photography for something. I want you to make up a mock wedding announcement for us, and I don't have a picture, so just use whatever you can find. So you're like, okay, they're a white couple. Let's use a white couple, and okay, how far down do I have to go before I get? There we go. I could use these folks.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Well, there's a white couple.
And then there's okay, is that really the
Yeah.
the one in the middle there? Is that what someone's looking for when they're looking for that? Most likely.
Yeah, that's it. I definitely have a problem with the way that they're. And for the record, I know all three of us here. None of us have any substantial bias. We're all very open-minded. I have all kinds of friends of every category and always have, but I really don't like the way they're leading everybody with the trans stuff, with like that. Like, I mean, I don't have any problem with a white male gay couple, but I do have a problem with you making it intentionally a prominent search result when, if grandma's just looking for a white couple, she's not looking for the white gay male couple. She's probably looking for, like some teenagers at the prom or whatever, But it's consistent across a lot of categories that you see
The other thing that they never mention when they're overtly promoting transsexual procedures, and now they're trying to basically peg a child, from age 1 onward, and to just try to figure out if they're, effeminate or masculine in their preferences, and then they'll try to peg them with a gender identity and suggest that maybe they want to start doing some hormones right now to get started.
Yeah, it's freaky.
And it's really weird, but what they never mention is the suicide rate with these people, which is extremely high. And it's 45% have made a serious attempt, like have ended up in an ambulance trying to kill themselves.
Wow.
And then as far as being successful, it's like 10 or 15%. So it's way out of proportion to the rest of the population. And one of the interesting statistics is that the first person in Germany who was euthanized in the new law that they have, where you can elect for euthanasia if you are depressed or have some other emotional issue. So you can just say, I give up on life, and and have the doctor put you down. And so the first person that did that was someone who had had a transsexual surgery, and including face, and they just didn't like the results. And I think we've all seen that. It's an extremely low success rate, I would say, in terms of ending up looking, attractive, which is presumably someone gets a change because they want to look like a good one of, whatever the opposite is.
But they all say if you know any of these people, and I do, or if you read their comments or listen to them talk, what they say is that they want to pass. This is the key to being trans. It doesn't matter which way you're going. You want to pass. You want to comfortably pass as the gender that you identify as.
Yeah.
And I follow a number of people on Twitter specifically to, there's a pretty controversial doctor. His name's Ray Blanchard, and I recommend people reading his work. He's done some pretty famous studies about the trans stuff. And him and another guy, I don't remember his name, but these guys have gone and done extensive, they've been funded and gotten studies done, but they've gone and done extensive research in Thailand, going and hanging out where, trans is. I've got a friend who just moved back from Thailand, and he's talked with me quite, not at length, but enough about it to know that it's way different over there. It's completely accepted and considered normal, and that it's obviously a lot easier to be passable if you're an Asian male especially. And the reason I brought it all up is because people who detransition or end up in a similar situation to what you're describing, they are just radio silenced in the media right now. They won't focus on people who have gone and tried to make themselves comfortable in their skin with surgery, with hormones, etc. They've found it to be a dead end and resigned themselves to try and go back, or to not continue to attempt to be passable, but instead to be to be neutral, or to be the gender that they originally were born as. And their stories are just heartbreaking. And to me, it's disingenuous to not, you got a 13-year-old boy or girl, and they're not certain yet. They have uncertainty. They need to be allowed to be well informed about the full scope of what could potentially happen. Taking hormones, having surgeries, etc., and they're leaving it out, and we're seeing that blow up this year for sure, all year long.
Yeah, when you're 5 years old, your favorite color changes every 2 weeks. I mean, it's hard to really know who you are.
They had a 11-year-old boy dressed as a girl dancing for money. I saw that in the press this week.
Wow.
And of course, to me, that's just bait. They're baiting all of us. They want us to freak out, be mad, your typical rural white guy is like gonna lose his shit when he sees that, and he's gonna grab his guns and be mad. Like that's enough, and that's what they want. They want this reaction. And I know very few people that would see that and say, I think that's acceptable. Even the most, even to the point of going beyond, say, really ultra liberal, and I don't mean politically liberal, I mean liberal in accepting things. People who are nihilists, I would say, that I know still don't like the idea that like an 11-year-old boy dressed like a drag queen dancing for money. Almost everyone I could think of absolutely sees and understands that as totally wrong, not acceptable, period. Hard stop. It's a child dancing in a sexualized manner for money. Not okay, period.
Yeah, well, yes, I would agree, obviously. But another thing that I think is obvious, and I'm surprised that others don't feel that way as much, at least around me. I know you're in a different part of the state. I'm around Portland, where this agenda has very deep roots. I mean, it has really impacted the social, society, the feeling around here, so that they've adopted all of the new lingo that's been rolled out in the last couple of years. And say, for instance, I was looking on Craigslist the other day, and some guy's looking for a roommate for himself and his 1-year-old son. He describes himself as pansexual, and then he says about the 1-year-old boy, I'm not even sure if he referred to it as a boy, but it just looked like a baby, wrapped up in some blankets. I mean, there was nothing about it in particular.
One years old,
from what he said, it was a boy, and then he was like, "We're not sure about his sexuality yet." I mean, he's 1 year old. Why are you even talking about it?
Exactly. So
And
weird.
isn't it damaging then? I think it was already to the point of damaging when I was in high school. Isn't it damaging to present this as though it's an unknown to every single student and say, well, you might want to think about it, when, the vast majority in a normal situation wouldn't be thinking about that.
Right.
And you're putting this thing that's, teenagers are already like questioning themselves and trying to figure out the meaning of life and their identity. But long before they become teenagers, apparently when they're 1 year old, when they start to talk, you're putting this idea and they're like, well, maybe you don't know who you are, about the most fundamental stuff.
Right, casting doubt where doubt already exists in a huge proportion, especially for that age group. Like, you're already like, hormones are going nuts, you probably have acne, and you're not really necessarily thinking about, whether or not your sexual identity is skewed or in question, and so then they're bringing it up as a suggestion to you. Like, well, maybe you're not actually supposed to be, thinking of yourself as a boy, even though you were born sexed as a boy. Maybe you should think about that too. It's really jacked up, man. It makes me think of Aldous Huxley's Brave New World and the horrible crap in that book about drugs and the process of decanting children. If you haven't read the book, folks, they decant everyone's a test tube baby, and they're like adding chemicals and alcohol and things to the test tubes as they're going down the assembly line. And when the children are all born, they've got them all like wearing these zipper suits, like they're all dressed in costume. And they're in the book, it's totally encouraged for them to like just jump in a pile and have like orgy sex. Like, that's considered normal and acceptable and good. And knowing what I know about Aldous Huxley and the whole Huxley family, that they're like culture creators in the worst way. These are horrible people, in my opinion. And so to correlate this year's press about trans, and like Tracy said, in Portland is like the most fashion-forward city in the world for this kind of stuff. You won't find very many places that are as pushing the limit as Portland, Oregon. And it's always been that way for as long as I can remember. So that's what it always makes me think. It's like, it's a brave new world. They've got everybody on drugs. We're all totally bombarded with drug ads and the opportunity to take any drug you want for your mental health or your physical maladies, as far as advertising, and any drug you want if you turn around out onto the street too. And that's a huge part of the book too.
Mm-hmm. So what happened in the year? Do you remember any specific news stories about this subject?
About like what's like a big thing in the press. I mean, I guess it was last year or the year before for oh gosh, I can't even remember the Kardashians' wife, husband. I can't think of his Wheaties on the cover of the box. Jenner. That was what, 2 years ago now? Was that in 2016 that he was the Woman of the Year? And so I was trying to think of any other big solid example like that. I mean, the main thing I saw in the last few days was that kid dancing.
Well, Trump's still going back and forth on the military ban here. Now, just a couple weeks ago, he asked the court, the Supreme Court, to review the military ban again. But remember, he had like taken them out and then he had to put them back. You remember that?
Yeah. I remember. To me, that was right. Another piece of the puzzle of them trying to bait everyone. You know.
And so I guess they've lifted the ban for the ones that are in, but there's still a question about whether you can join if you already are one. So I don't know.
Yeah, and so I just typed in because I don't know if you were looking, Tracy, but I did white couple and then I just typed black couple just to see, and the black couple pictures were definitely more consistently just like a younger black couple and then a couple older black couples, but no gay black couple, no kind of one-off knockoff weird stuff. So I just typed trans couple into Google here, and you can still see it, right? Yeah, okay, I see. I'm still screen sharing. So
with the exception of one, they're all pretty people.
Yeah, of course they're all gorgeous, right? And
yeah, you don't have the ones that didn't work out so well.
Oh yeah, I mean this one here, I'm not trying to pick on these people, obviously. I don't even know if this is really a couple, but if it is, okay, so here's an example of honestly what you would see more often in Portland than you would see these beautiful people, I mean, I know it sounds cruel, but I mean if you've never been to Portland, Oregon, you should, be ready in advance that you're going to enter a world you've never imagined existed if you've never been there. And I love Portland, I love Portland, Oregon, but it's far out. I'd say nowadays it's even more far out than the city of San Francisco, because way back in the day, San Francisco was the gay city that had the reputation for being, the rest of, what would you say, 1988, somewhere around that time, you wouldn't expect in the rest of the United States in general to see a lot of openly gay behavior in people, but you definitely would in San Francisco. Everyone knew that if you went to San Francisco, men would be holding hands and making out on the streets. There would be, militant lesbians might, confront you about your behavior back in the day. And now you're seeing that across the board, I vaguely remember this couple here. I think that these folks are transitioned both ways. Like she was originally male and he was originally female, and so this is like I'm pretty sure, because I saw I guess we could click the news tab. Let's just
that was the most useless of all for me today. I would go there and they'll only show you things that are recent, even though you put in the exact headline for the thing that you're looking for. If it's a few months old, you'll only get recent things.
Oh, I mean, I guess we could go to Drudge and type trans and see what comes up.
Yeah.
Well, folks, this is the nature of the issue, and this is a good thing to bring up about. Okay, so we're trying to just review the year here, and I feel like we're already kind of stalled, not because we've failed to have content, but because everything's so polarized, we can't bring you an old-fashioned media unbiased view. Back in the day, it used to be, the media is supposed to at least make a good effort to present unbiased. You're not supposed to, everything's not supposed to be editorialized to the max. It's supposed to be
it's like
neutral.
Snopes. The whole thing is Snopes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the top result.
I'm sorry about how we keep talking over each other. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
No worries.
We'll either catch the rhythm or we'll be a little bit off kilter. It's okay.
The rhythm. Speaking of the rhythm, I was wondering, do you want to talk about all the people that seemed like they got offed the greatest hits?
The greatest hits.
Yeah,
Ba-dum-bum.
greatest hits. That's a great idea, Tracy. So who's the off the top of your head, Jim? Who's the main person you can think of that got offed this year? Who?
Got suicided or otherwise.
Rich? Seth Rich? Was that this year?
That was years ago.
That was years ago. Well, it comes up so much.
So the guy that popped into my head is Washugi or whatever his name is. I don't remember his real name.
Washugi?
That's not his name. It's the Saudi Arabian guy. Okay.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That name popped up because they've in the press they've definitely made a big deal of that. I just can't remember his name. So
What about John McCain?
Yes.
It seemed really fishy that he had this speech to give right before he passed away, and he was so lucid and he didn't seem like a guy with brain cancer that's just knocking on death's door. Usually, with that kind of thing, you're not in that sort of a state where you could give a televised speech and be lucid.
QAnon says that he was murdered, and also that G.H.W. Bush was, or not murdered, executed.
Yeah.
That they're both executed as part of the plea deals that go along with the military tribunals of politicians and others guilty of crimes against humanity, according to QAnon.
They were allowed to take their own lives and die with some kind of honor.
Yeah. Okay. So I heard that George Bush was like, it was like a lethal injection essentially, and he thought he was protecting his family's reputation, but all the stuff's going to come out anyway. This is the QAnon rumor mill that includes not only what QAnon posts on the board, the only one that exists anymore that I can tell, QAnon pub, I think, or .pub, and then
right, because it's been pulled off of it was on Infinity Chan, or what they call 8chan. I never go on that board. I go to 4chan every once in a while. I'll go just look and see what the shit posters are up to over there, but and I never went to the other Q board. So what I do is I follow some accounts that definitely update on Q.
Yeah, well, okay, so and then there's still some YouTube channels that follow that subject. And what's interesting, the one I just watched, the guy was saying that these military tribunals are going to be censored by the media, but there will be some alternative media outlets that will have exclusive access to the information of what's going on as the trials happen. And he just so happens to be one of them. And this is one of the larger YouTube accounts that talks a lot about this subject, and this is one of the subcategories I had of year in review that I thought to talk about is like, there's so many YouTube personalities that have come out of nowhere this year and gotten really popular. This guy's one of them, and there's several others that are like specifically obsessed with QAnon and seem to, they always act like they have inside information, and it's whatever QAnon is. These guys are definitely part of the the intelligence unit that's running this particular psyop.
LARP. I really hope you get a chance. Like if you're busy doing housework or something, and you can throw on that 4-hour thing with Steve Outram about GovLARP. It's right what you're talking about, and he does a really good job of keeping it neutral himself. He does a good job of presenting it kind of the same way that we've been trying to do here for the last 30-40 minutes of like, look, everybody, this shit's polarized to the max, but here's what we think without, because I don't really care about Q. I follow it because everyone's talking about it on the internet, and so it piques my curiosity. And I mean, of course, I find it morbidly entertaining to imagine, like, okay, in the press they're showing Bush Sr. died and they're having a funeral. Like, that's another thing that's tied into all this. Like, did you guys see the GIFs and the video clips of everybody receiving a little secret envelope during the funeral?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so this is some weird stuff. Like everyone, some of the people definitely looked shocked, especially Jeb Bush.
Yeah, you can find
looks
that.
really, really shocked.
I found that somewhat convincing, that some sort of legal summons was handed to these people. I don't know if they're going to go to Gitmo like they say and and prosecute them for crimes against humanity. But I can totally see them being prosecuted for some stuff, especially Hillary, obviously. But yeah, I mean, the if you show the video or if you
Yeah, I'm gonna click on this one here and just see what we get.
yeah, do it.
And so I'm gonna click, make sure we're getting. I'm gonna make that a little bit bigger.
You know, like everyone was wondering, why is Trump even showing up at this funeral
wow.
to stand next to all these people that hate him and that he hates?
Yeah,
Maybe this was why, just to be there when they did
To
this.
see their faces.
yeah. And I'm gonna mute the sound so that
They should. Oh,
so here's Hillary getting her little envelope.
wow. Look at her face.
So it's hidden inside the program for
Yeah,
the
it
funeral.
falls out, and Jimmy Carter doesn't get one.
Right.
Or at least if he does, it doesn't show it. But that's like the speculation from all the people poring over this footage.
No, she definitely has a grimace. And then, oh wow, yeah. Then she, her mood seemed to change recently too after this.
Yeah, I saw Podesta flaring up. That's another thing. John Podesta was in the press.
There's Jimmy Carter getting one.
No, that's not Jimmy Carter.
Who was that?
I don't
That
know.
looks like Dick Cheney,
Oh,
But-
no, it's.
Oh
but
yeah.
that's not
It's,
Carter. That's
Biden.
Biden. That's Joe Biden.
No, it's yeah. Biden got one. Okay.
So
And then yeah, Jeb Bush definitely. The way that Jeb Bush
yeah,
reacts.
I'm sure they've
is
got
very
that edited
specific.
at the end here, and that is definitely Cheney, huh? Isn't it? Maybe not. I don't know.
No, I don't think.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
looks
look at
shocked. He
his
certainly
face.
looks shocked. Like, what's this?
And then
And
this
look at
guy,
Trump.
yeah,
Does
look at
Trump
him.
does look like he's just sitting there?
There's one.
And that's
Yeah, but they say that Mike Pence got one
yeah,
too.
that's Pence's
Pence's
wife, and
wife.
it's in there.
Hmm.
I
That
wonder
was-
what was in that envelope.
I hate it when they do
But
this.
see, it looks like the size of the envelope. It looks like an invitation to a party or something.
Yeah,
you know?
that's what I mean. It makes me wonder if this isn't another potential LARPy, like pressy, muddy the water type thing, where really maybe Trump and Melania gave them like the most crass invitation to a party that they know none of them would want to go to, and they
Yeah.
know that then they can filter the lens, the optics on all of it, like, ooh, look, they're all going to be indicted. And really it's like, hey, since you were just at your dad's funeral, why don't you come on over for some caviar and champagne, because we're going to celebrate immediately after. And you look at it and go, oh, dickhead, And that seems like such a Trump thing to do, too, and sit there and like with his secret troll smile, like, you're all fired, you're fired.
You're fired. See if we can find the Jeb Bush.
Yeah, we got to try one more time for the Jeb Bush reaction. It just makes me think, please clap. I don't know.
I typed in served papers at funeral when I found it,
Really now.
but I think that's it.
Yeah.
Jeb Bush's
Well,
reaction
wasn't
is,
that the same? The one you just. That's the one you just watched. The same one, right?
No, this is different because here's the casket.
Okay.
Allegedly HW is inside of here.
Allegedly.
So is our broadcast choppy? Is that why it's going so slow?
Oh, they're just
There's
taking.
a
No,
video.
they're just taking their sweet time.
All right.
See, he looks sentimental there,
Sentimental. She holds up the paper.
and he's like, "Oh no, oh no."
Yeah, this
oh,
isn't very
no.
good footage. What did you say you typed,
And-
Jim? Let's try one more time and find the good footage just in case.
Oh, but you were
Jeb
putting. That was it. It's coming right now. This is it.
Oh, they're zoomed in. Okay.
Yeah, and you can see. All right, he's looking
He's kind of grinning.
angry
Okay.
now.
Yep. And
Here he comes. Here he comes.
He's like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
and what's up with this guy? Because
And then look at the way George Jr. looks. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, I knew that was coming. Don't
Yeah,
you think?
exactly. Bush Jr. looks like, well, this sucks. Like, he looks implicated.
He's
Absolutely.
like, "I'm not gonna read this now. I'll wait till my dad passes by," he says.
So she looks at the document and is shocked to see it.
Or maybe he's like, I don't read stuff.
News Today is doing a pretty good job of slowing this way down. Laura Bush shows him something on the paper. So here's Jeb taking a look, and he can't. He's like shaking
It's
his
something
head.
you got to be able to read quick.
Takes his hand off his heart. And Junior, like, looks like he sure wishes he was in a different fucking room right now.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. There's definitely
And that-
something he saw that made him mad, or it's a highly orchestrated act.
I wonder who that bald guy is.
Yeah, I know
It looks like a Secret Service.
They
He's
all
holding
say that's definitely Secret Service, and I think they're probably right. But like we're all speculating. I think this is their whole point. Like, let's give them something to talk about, something to think about, because we don't know.
Well, that was definitely an honest reaction on Jeb's
It
face.
sure seemed like it. Yeah, and I wouldn't
You
give.
can't hide that kind of emotion. He's not a poker player.
No, he's not much of an actor. If you've watched him speak, he's not. Jeb didn't take a lot of acting classes, I don't think.
So have you then seen the picture of Hillary? It looks like she's sitting on some Secret Service agent's lap.
Oh my gosh,
being
yes.
propped
No, I
up.
haven't seen that. Here, let's see that.
Have you? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Yes. That's good.
And she's got this robotic or reptilian. I don't know. She's got her eyes are like a different color, and she's kind of staring in front of her. She looks like she's been switched off, like
Like in-
she's in sleep mode. You know.
Oh man, this is gonna be
But-
hard to find. So
So
what?
I'm gonna try to find
Hillary
it here for
on
you.
someone's lap. Try that.
Hillary on.
I don't know if that's the headline you're gonna find because it's like you only see it at a certain angle that she's sitting on someone's lap.
Isn't it?
Um,
Is she inside of a vehicle? That
She's
one.
inside this big black van, which I just discovered is named Scooby.
The van is named Scooby.
No, it's
Yes.
the very first one.
Oh, okay, hold on. There's Hillary on Bill's lap. Who's she with? Is that Al Gore? Yeah.
It's this one.
So this one. So let's go to this site and see. That's what in the hell? That picture is weird looking.
It almost doesn't look like her, but
Oh, I need to get the audience back here. Okay. Oh, this is more video. Okay, so let's see.
yeah, there's a video of it.
Let's see what happens here, folks. Maybe we'll take the volume off. It's only 1 minute here. Shock photo. Hillary sits on man's lap, frozen. What's wrong with her? So this is definitely what you're talking about here.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, so that van is called Scooby? And this
Yes.
is like Hillary's medical van. Like, this thing is equipped like an ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the allegation. And I can tell you from being a professional wheelchair tech that it's definitely, it's suited out, man. That is an expensive piece of equipment, even without the upgrades for, head of state type shit. But, go ahead, Tracy, go ahead.
I was just gonna say my son saw this video over my shoulder when I watched it the first time, and he made the spontaneous comment that it looks like a van for kidnapping people.
Yes, it
Why
does.
he knows that, I don't know. I think it came from one of the Roblox games he plays.
I know, from the
But
mouths of
anytime-
babes, right? Yeah. All right, so,
So okay, so you can see the dude behind her, and then the look on her face.
oh wait, you can. You can. I wonder if I can blow
It's
that up a
hard
little
to
bit
tell
just in
if
case
she's
the audience.
next to him or on his
How does
lap,
that
but
look?
it,
So
Then
that
oh,
works. Yeah, we can still. So I'm gonna roll it here. Let's see. Oh, it's not okay. So this is still photography, but nice music, guys.
Look at
Yeah.
that.
is that her? It looks.
It's her.
Yeah, that one. I mean, there. And if you've never looked, folks, if you want to have some fun, type Hillary Clinton body double, and there's definitely some ladies out here pretending to be Hillary Clinton at events. They don't. If you put the pictures side by side, they don't even look
Her eyes.
close. But-
They look almost reptilian.
Mute this so we can
Yep.
keep rolling without that. I just killed the sound because I don't want to hear the sweeping digital strings. So
But yeah, she looks like she's resigned to her fate of whatever that is.
yeah, that's not a good look.
What's wrong with her?
What is wrong? Well, we could make a much shorter list if we go with what's okay.
You mean medically or what?
No, yeah, I mean, and
All of the
I'm
above.
not even being biased. I won't lie. I don't really care for Hillary Clinton, but I mean, if it wasn't digressing away for our theme from the night, I would totally search right now for her spitting out the green balls into a cup.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
you know, I'm not going to do it for you folks, but if you're curious and you've never seen Hillary standing at the lectern and instead of taking a drink of water, she spits 2 green, gooey, phlegmy balls, and they
moist
don't. And it's
phlegm
not
balls.
like she had a loogie she had to hawk or something. It's like 2 little green spheres
Fall out of her mouth.
So that's your homework assignment this week. Go ahead and watch that video and write me 3 paragraphs about how it makes you feel. And then we'll give you 10% off on a Plus Ultra membership. I'm just kidding. That's totally on Tracy. So let's see.
Chipotle land.
Where did we start with this? Did this come from us talking about QAnon?
This came from the list of the greatest hits. People have been
Oh, that's
suicided or
Thank you.
murdered or something. And so the other people I had on the list were Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain, and XXX
yeah.
Temptation.
Okay.
And possibly Stephen Hawking.
Well, if that
No,
was
wait,
the
hold
real
on,
Hawking.
hold on. Stop the presses. There's speculation that they killed Stephen Hawking?
Well, it's me speculating.
Okay,
Because of the fact that he shouldn't have lived as long as he did in the first place.
True.
Yeah.
Which is a scandal in itself. He should have died like decades ago. And it's never really been explained, you know, how he kept trudging along for so long. And then I think something happened that was suspicious last year, which is that he became involved in trying to prove the globe for some cable science
Yeah,
channel.
I saw that.
Show. Okay, so he did some experiments that were very easily shown by other YouTubers afterwards to have been totally fixed, where he's just not taking the necessary calculations into consideration.
Oh yeah. I saw that
And-
because you know, I mean, they were doing like this laser on a boat thing, like, and it's just balderdash. It's not good science, no matter where you stand on the shape of the Earth. Like, what he was doing is just junk. It's like, this is bullshit.
I think he's been a puppet for a long time. He's been. He probably died years ago. Because I mean, the people that have.
Well, they had ALS. There's no way that man had ALS.
Yeah, I think they have like a 4-year life expectancy once they've been diagnosed.
Oh,
And he
Yeah.
got diagnosed in like the early 80s,
Yeah, no,
I think.
It used to be my job. That is the absolute worst diagnosis someone that needs a wheelchair could come to you with. I mean, if you can imagine having like between 5 and 10 people that desperately need power wheelchairs, and you're having to deal with the hassle of medical insurance for all of them, and on top of that you get a guy with ALS.
Yeah.
Definitely diagnosed with ALS, you bump all those people and you get him his wheelchair first, no matter what, because the progression of the disease is so fast and can happen so severely
Yeah.
that if you don't, he might just be bedbound and die, because you don't know. It's such a wild card and it's such a terrible disease.
Like, I think he wrote the first book, A Brief History of Time, and that was it. The second book was written by his assistant and student teacher, and they just kept him around as a puppet to.
Well, I mean, have you seen the pictures of them saying it's not actually him, Tracy, that they swatched him out for a different guy?
He has different teeth. His teeth change. They go from,
Yeah, I could believe that.
They go from
I have seen some of that stuff.
Okay, yeah. So that's another thing, folks.
crooked teeth to straight teeth.
If you haven't seen it, there's people speculating that it's not even that there's 2 different guys minimum, and that I could see them getting him out of the way. That's not too far out for speculation, I think, Tracy.
Another thing that he was in the news for the previous year was photos of him hanging out with the guy with the
Epstein
island.
Yeah, he was on the Lolita Express.
What's the dude's name?
Epstein?
Epstein. Yes, and there was a news story. He's back in the news this year because he got off essentially on another attempt to bring him to some kind of justice.
Wow.
And the results of this one resulted in the people not being able to testify. So that's a
Right, back to what we were
aside.
talking
But
about, too, though.
stick that in your Pizzagate news.
Crazy.
But yeah,
I was trying to pop that
I
up so
thought
people could see
Hawking
it.
might have been at least removed from the cast of characters on purpose because it was becoming a bit embarrassing to have him so widely known as why is this guy alive, for one thing, and for another thing, he's one of the targets now of flat earthers, that they're always trying to poke holes in what he's doing. So
Right. So I mean, here he is, definitely somewhere like hanging out at a party. You know?
imagine too. I mean,
What?
it's just such a strange thing to think about him like being one of the people involved in one of these parties. But then again, I can't imagine these parties, like how events are orchestrated, and I can't really imagine it. We keep hearing stories, and we've been hearing them more and more the last couple of years about elite and Hollywood parties where illegal sex is happening. And I've just never been to a party that was anywhere close to any of this stuff, so I have a hard time imagining it.
No, yeah, like, I mean, people drinking too much, maybe using illicit drugs, or fights breaking out, people being inappropriate and flirting and advancing because they're inebriated, sure, but not like, hey, let's all have a party because there's going to be some people that are way too young to be hanging out with adults there. Like, no way. It's just nutty. And I remember one of the first books I ever read about all this stuff was called Pawns in the Game. It's a really popular conspiracy book. The author's name's William Guy Carr. He was Canadian Naval Intelligence. And even in that book, he was describing how that was part of the process. They called it the glass house. And it was before recording and photography stuff was really sophisticated. It was probably like in the same era of like the type of camera where you'd have to flip the thing over your head. It was old. Like I remember 1800s or like early 1800s, but the same idea that they would get people there, they would have it all staged up with call girls and prostitutes, and they would, pad these people into their position so that they could say, well, now we're going to need you to vote. But since you're part of the legislature, and don't forget, that we could tell your wife and your church that we definitely have the evidence that you were doing these things. And so if that's true all the way back early 1800s, then the natural digression of that kind of process is just bad. I mean, it's just, so it makes sense if they
could even drug you and take away your inhibitions. What was that drug you were talking about?
Scopolamine is, you see that popping up now and again. Scopolamine supposedly is a drug that if you dose somebody with it, they remain coherent, awake, and alert, but they are absolutely suggestible. So like you could say, hey, you better log into your banking and transfer all your money to me, and they're like, okay, I'll do it, so, and then they don't have any recollection of it when they come off of the drug. And
yes.
I know J. Edgar Hoover was supposedly gay and cross-dressed and had a file cabinet full of blackmail material and would frame people up, knock people out and have them posed up in inappropriate positions and stuff. That's been a rumor going around. I think it's more than a rumor, actually. I think there's some confirmation of J. Edgar Hoover's proclivities. They called him Gay Edgar Hoover.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was the head of the FBI. So now, when you said, what was the lady? You said the mouse mask. What was her? That lady?
Kate Spade.
Kate Spade.
Kate Spade.
So tell me more about that, because I didn't really catch that story.
You don't remember that? Okay, so she was the lady that designed some handbags, and she was married to David Spade's brother, and so the company's name was Spade, Kate Spade, and they did handbags, but they did some other stuff too. And I don't think it's, they really have put out a lot of details about, what led to her suicide, supposedly. Just that she was depressed and an alcoholic, kind of, is what her husband said about her, and other people that knew her. But this is one of the ones where she's hung with a red scarf. This is the detail I remember, a red scarf. I don't know, but we should find out if it actually was red. But she was hung with a scarf around
from a doorknob,
right? From a doorknob. Now,
and that's a theme too.
Anthony Bourdain also died, I think, the next day, and and I can't remember what his mode of death was. There were people saying that they both died hung from doorknobs, but considering the source, I probably need to check that, because it might just be an internet rumor. But they definitely died within 2 days of each other, and The scarf thing with Kate Spade, it seems so strange because obviously, there's not a lot of room below where a doorknob would be for a body to hang, with its own weight to break the neck or whatever would have to happen, or to suffocate.
It would be
So
hard.
it seems a bit odd.
Yeah.
But yeah, so people were saying that maybe she got suicided, maybe it had something to do with some kind of Illuminati stuff. The spade symbol, especially she used a black spade for the symbol for her handbag company, and that's a symbol of death and actually of assassination. Commonly, and they used it in Vietnam, I know, but it's been used in other contexts as well as a way of sort of warning someone or letting them know ahead of time that you plan on killing them.
Yeah,
so
Ace of
it's kind of
Spades. I
interesting.
mean, it's the Ace of Spades,
Yeah.
folks. Come on. I mean,
I've heard speculation that they were gonna open a factory for her purses in a third world country, somewhere where the Clinton Foundation was working a lot. I don't know if it was Haiti or not, but somehow she found out something.
So I've
Okay.
got the
not
there's
sure.
a Reddit thread here. It's r/morbid questions. Kate Spade died by hanging herself with a scarf attached to a doorknob. How does that work? Top comment under sorted by best is, it's called partial hanging. I knew a friend I met at a mental hospital who tried that. Basically, less than full body weight is needed to constrict the carotid and jugular arteries, so this method can be used to kill oneself. Okay, so I'll show you guys a trick of something I like to do on Reddit, because believe you me, the comments and the stuff you're seeing on the internet, everywhere you go is curated to some degree. There are what they call it astroturf, there are bots, there's all kinds of managing of information and how it's coming out, and especially on Reddit. If you go look up controversial topics on Reddit, they are all over it to make it look like whatever the popular idea is or whatever idea they want promoted. It looks like everyone's chiming in, just going, "Oh Jesus, that's stupid. There's no way 9/11 was an inside job." Blah blah blah, and they have all these canned buzzwords. But if you're not aware that it's that way, it works. It looks like you're in a crowd of people that it would be uncomfortable or unwise to disagree with. So what you can do is, if you go to this little tab on Reddit, it works. Go to controversial, and usually you'll see something different here, because now the most controversial topic comes up instead. So let's just read this and see, just for fun. It's not too long. I can't speak for Kate Spade, but hanging by a scarf or similar things on a doorknob is often caused by autoerotic asphyxiation that went wrong. So, okay, that's another common thing. And wasn't that the guy from Kung Fu? That's what they think happened to him, the guy from NXS. You're masturbating and choking yourself, and whoopsie, instead of, having a good time, you drop dead, It's the same with Chris Cornell and the guy from Linkin Park, right? Both of them, is that true? Do you guys remember?
I don't remember
I don't know
that
if it was
about
a scarf
the Linkin Park guy.
with Linkin Park. I know that it was in a bathroom. He was hung or found hanging.
That was this year, though, right? Both
From a
those guys?
cord.
Was he one of the scarf guys?
Let's look it up.
I thought it was some kind of cord, but
Okay.
it was in the same sort of 2 weeks or month or so that the string of Chester Bennington.
Yeah, when did the Linkin Park thing happen? When did he die? Well, let's find out.
Let's see. That's saying mid 2017.
Okay, yeah.
Boy, we're having a hard time keeping it on just this year with all these deaths.
Well, this is what I said to the lady in the Uber ride today. I said, I have to talk about the year in review, and I'm having a hard time remembering because it seems like everything in 2018 is just a repeat of everything in 2017.
Yeah, it's true.
And-
That's what I mean. A lot of this, even some of it back to 2016.
Yes, everything about Donald Trump, everything about Russia, just to the point where, it just numbs you. And I guess that's just like we were talking about. That's the point of overblowing a story, is so it doesn't matter what the details are anymore because no one's listening. So, yeah.
So I was trying to find. Did you find details? Because I was looking
Regarding Bennington?
Yeah,
No, I didn't.
I was just trying to glance real quick. I won't spend too much time on it if we don't get something. Found hanging
Well,
from a door, separating his bedroom from his closet. similar
Okay,
to
so there you go.
yeah.
There's at least one
So-
other doorknob
so-
hanger.
So and they're saying that's
Uh,
similar to Chris Cornell.
Okay.
So now I've got an idea to throw at both of you here and everybody in the chat, of course. Whenever I hear this stuff, and especially Bowie, I thought of it when Bowie died. I think Bowie faked his death, but in the book by Ayn Rand, the famous book Atlas Shrugged, these people all intentionally destroy their own businesses. They fake their deaths, and they all go vanish off into this secret location in Colorado where it's like
Yes.
it's hidden from view, and that ties into what Tracy's talked about with what we call Mount Analog. I actually did a whole report on this type of stuff of hidden lost lands, hidden mountains, or invisible mountains. So whenever I read this stuff, especially like what with Cornell and Bennington here, we're talking about weeks apart, both hanging from a doorknob, potentially both with a red scarf or cord. It seems to me like maybe they either decided to check out of this this section of the play, you know, like, hey, I'm gonna die in Act 2, and then I'll meet you back at the secret hideout, or that someone told them that they have to, whether they want to or not, you know.
Have you looked at Chester Bennington's photo next to John Podesta?
Yeah, it's a trip.
There's some,
It's amazing.
yeah, there's some speculation that he might be his illegitimate father. perhaps.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's was the motivation for the Illuminati killing him, according to everybody. And then you notice their symbol, the logo
The
for
Linkin
Linkin Park is the boy love symbol. Again,
It
the
is.
one
That's
that's
true.
triangular. A
So
triangle
I was
in
gonna throw this
spiral.
picture up there just so people could see it in case they'd never seen it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This is the one that I found most compelling. Like, dang.
Even the same glasses shape
I mean, that's so similar.
around
I
the
mean,
lips and chin,
yeah,
and
crazy.
eyes.
Like, what the hell? Like, so yeah, so if you don't know, folks, people are speculating that this is John Podesta. He was heading up the campaign for Hillary. He's the one that actually came out and announced that they were going to call it a night. You know, Hillary didn't even come out and say that she conceded Trump was president. And then his emails have all of this crazy shit that got released through WikiLeaks and other stuff. All this stuff about all these child trafficking, pedophile, code language. And then, like, even the weirdest thing to me in all of it really was the request for a thelemic favor, a favor of thelema. Like, somebody sent John Podesta an email that, and so if you don't know, thelema is the ritual magic religion started by Aleister Crowley. So someone sent an email like, hey, I know you're busy, I know you got a lot of emails, but my mother's 93 years old, and she would love to meet Barack Obama. And the subject line of the email is thelema, and in parentheses, a favor. And so they're politely asking, with the word thelema as the marker, from John Podesta for a favor that someone might be allowed to meet Barack Obama. And the rest of it's really spooky and weird, horrible shit, but to me, that was like, oh crap, you know, like you're being too obvious if you're secretly involved in magic. You should never send an email like, can you do me a black magic favor? Is a really bad idea. You know.
Wow, I hadn't heard that one. That's new to me. So
yeah,
that's
it's
amazing.
up there.
What about Avicii? Did he die?
Yes, I was just gonna bring him up. Yep. So he did a video specifically about these vigilante kids or young adults going around killing all the pedos and leaving calling cards. And specifically ones that are, powerful. And, spoiler alert, at the end of the video, one of the politicians who gets offed by them recognizes them and remembers that they are kids that he had abused when they were younger that are going around now getting revenge. So he makes this music video that's all about that. And then he supposedly kills himself because he was what his family put out as a statement was he was a very deep person who questioned the meaning of life.
Yeah. I heard
He was a very rich person who had every reason to live.
Yeah.
And he had a girlfriend and she had a kid that he was going to adopt. They were going to get married.
Yeah, I don't
know if he got hung or if he hung himself, but I heard there was like signs of a struggle, like broken glass from a wine bottle that was broken. He had some cuts or something.
Very, very weird. And yeah, if you go to the music video, it's called Another Day or A Better Day,
Okay.
and you look at the comments, every single one is about how they killed him over this video. So that's what his audience assumes. And I imagine his audience is pretty young. So, this is the mindset now. It's kind of an amazing video too. Have you seen it, Sean?
No, I've never seen it.
Maybe. Do
So-
you think we could watch it?
You might be able
Sound
to get away
delete?
with playing it, at least with the sound down or something. I don't know.
Or muted?
Yeah.
Let's see if it'll load up here.
Didn't he have a foundation for kids that were sex trafficked, or I heard that.
Maybe so.
I'd have to look
Maybe
it up.
so.
So
I don't know,
it's
yeah.
trying to load up. Oh, there we go. What this is. So we've got of course, anything really popular has an ad that you were forced to watch. Now, if it's not too popular, you can get away with 3 or 4 seconds. But if it's popular, get ready to watch 15 to 30 seconds of the strangest advertising you've ever seen. Because on YouTube, I love to watch the ad companies suffer because they can't figure out how to fucking sell to us anymore. And so they're just throwing everything against the wall that'll stick, like they don't know what the fuck to do. And I love it. Pardon my French, folks, but I agree with Bill Hicks about advertising. Like, it's just horrible. That's the devil. So here we're seeing the high-end black car pulling up. I'm not going to play the music just in case. I don't want the AI bots to knock this stream down. I'm having a good time here. I hope you're all
Yeah,
enjoying
no, I
yourself.
think that's the right thing to do.
So here he's opening up the big militarized type truck. We've got the pinky ring.
They're making all these hand signals.
Everybody's signaling. This guy's gonna light a cigarette. It looks like he might have his arm in a sling. No, it's just his jacket.
So it looks like he donated a lot to hunger charities.
Oh, okay.
Feeding America.
Right. Oh, that's it. Looks like.
Okay. You mean Avicii did?
Avicii did, yes.
Yeah.
So okay, that's a wedding ring.
Then you see the
So transition to black and white kid being traced through a sunflower field. I've got 2 different kids here. A little girl. I'm seeing that right. There was a boy first, right?
Yeah.
there's a boy and a girl.
Okay.
This is really unlike any other music video. I've never seen this topic treated in a music video like this.
No.
I mean, I've seen child abuse videos, but this is specifically about trafficking, which I don't think I've ever seen addressed.
Makes me think of the song "Hell Is for Children." I'm sure that you remember that, Tracy. Maybe
No.
not. Lita Ford, I think. Okay, so now we're transitioning to inside of a house. People wearing skull masks. People being violently beaten and apparently going to be beaten to death with weapons.
Branded.
Okay, so this is the
Yeah.
pedophile being violently beaten and branded. And that red light in the back of the room is weird. Oh, apparently, and killed. Okay.
And killed. I wonder what the brand said.
Well, you find out at the end.
Well, it says Coca-Cola, Jim, obviously.
I thought it said Pepsi.
So they jump over the cliff, and he's regretting that he was not able to
Folks,
catch
they're-
them.
They're reborn by jumping in the water.
Yeah.
Ooh, symbolism. This guy is suicided.
All right, so they're getting through their list here. Yeah, maybe
Yes.
that was the baptism of wisdom there into the water, Tracy.
What country is this guy from? Is he from Belgium?
Sweden, I think.
Okay. They, they're showing these protesters outside
Yeah, okay,
of this
so yeah,
guy's
this is
house.
making me think of France.
He's
That's
from
another thing
Sweden.
that happened this year that we haven't mentioned. That there's definitely this huge yellow. It's so weird to me that they're all wearing like safety vests.
Mhm.
Here's the brand again. So now we're moving
Yeah.
up. We're moving up to the tippy top of the pyramid here.
Oh, they're gonna hang him.
And so here's the. Yeah, he looks confused. Like, oh yeah. Here's the flashback memory. He remembers.
No. Over the
So
side.
he gives him the boot off the edge.
Yeah, I was thinking about it might be Belgium, because Belgium's a country where they actually had protests, like hundreds of thousands of people coming out in the street to protest people in the government involved in pedophilia.
Yeah, I remember that.
Wow.
And of course, all of those, what would you call that, Scandinavian area, there's a lot of gray area and speculation about, the Dutch, Belgium, that the lines are blurred as far as what's appropriate with children, not like it is for us here in the United States.
It's more of a traditional thing. up
Yeah,
there.
yeah, absolutely. So here, this is we're getting down right to the end of the video. So was this the reality now? So was it imagined that they were
It says-
freed?
No, see, that's what they got branded with the word pedophile. They show you at the
Okay,
end.
so
Pedophile?
Yeah, so those were the kids that were doing it. They managed to escape, and then they grew up to get the revenge.
Right, but what I was saying is at the very end here, it's showing some kids actually getting. It's like we're getting a parallel ending. These kids are actually caught and getting kidnapped. So crazy. It's just crazy. So yeah, there's another guy that definitely was. He made the greatest hits list.
And then there's XXX.
Yeah. Boy, I don't know. I almost want to gloss over that one because I don't want you. I like it when I text and you text me back.
Well, so I've sent you some pictures. This is an X. This is probably the story that we should talk about next. But I sent you some pictures of Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, because so he didn't die yet, but he's definitely got himself in a whole bunch of trouble.
He's on the list. But okay, so you were talking about earlier, like, did these guys know ahead of time? And are they going into Tomorrowland when they officially die? So I saw indications of that this summer. I found them all over Twitter. I found codes embedded in rap videos. And the indication is basically that the Illuminati is faking the deaths of these people. They plan it ahead of time, and it's all, it's supposed to be a media event, so it'll sell more albums. And they use a metaphor, I would say, in these rap videos of what will happen to them after they are sacrificed and then they transition into the other world. And so the metaphor is virtual reality. And they show these guys essentially selling their souls, and they to the Illuminati. They become their property for a while. They become the like the American Idol. They pimp them out, and they make them. By that I mean the Illuminati makes them popular in the press for a while. They sell albums.
Right,
they
the
do
popular
shows.
usage of pimped out.
And then the staged event happens, and it's usually foreshadowed with public threats being made to the person by rival rappers and things like that. And then so I saw this summer what was really freaky. Okay, while I was being hacked and death threatened intensely by people that were reacting to me naming some names of accounts I saw on YouTube where it looked like they were doing trafficking. While all that was happening,
right,
some of the messages I was bombarded with were about XXXTentacion, who I had never heard of before, and he was still alive at that point, but he only lived like another 2 weeks. So I saw all these overt messages to me about him, and some of them indicated that he was slated for death. I got curious about him, so I started looking him up on Twitter, and then I saw threatening messages on his Twitter. I followed those accounts of the people that were threatening, and then I saw stuff where they were foreshadowing that they were going to kill him. And, I didn't know what to make of it at the time because I'd never heard of this guy, but I was, shocked but not shocked a couple of weeks later when I saw the headline, and it was right around in the same I would say 3 or 4 week period as Spade and Bourdain.
Yeah.
And XXX gets shot at right after he gets through taking some money out of a ATM machine. And so the headline is that it was a botched robbery. But I mean, there was so much evidence on Twitter of him being threatened right before. And even the guy who was arrested for murdering him had
Yellow shoes.
one of the symbols on his shirt, one of the symbols that I had found for these people that like to hurt kids.
It was on his clothing? It was on his shirt?
Yeah, he had the broken heart symbol on his shirt.
Oh, what a trip.
Okay, so anyway, and XXX had lots of people sending him that emoji right before he died. But of course, it's actually a symbol that these what Matt Drudge likes to call emo rap or
right, SoundCloud rappers.
Huh?
The SoundCloud rappers.
Yeah, the SoundCloud rappers, and they like to talk about how they want to die and stuff, and they like to brag about their drug abuse and their depression and things like that. And so they use the broken heart symbol quite a lot too. But it seems to be all tied together with the darker meaning of the symbol that I discovered. So anyway, it was freaky to me that these guys were foreshadowing X's death. I saw it was coming. I saw it happen. I saw the evidence that there were other people involved in his murder. And then one of the things that came out shortly afterwards, or was highlighted by people on YouTube, I just sent you the link to it. So through Twitter. So XXX actually did a live stream on Twitter maybe a week before he died.
Okay, do you want to watch that? I was looking at all the stuff you sent. If you want me to bump any particular one of them up, go ahead and
the
let me know.
last thing I sent you was a YouTube of X here, XXX, talking about if he gets sacrificed. And you should have no problems with that because it's just his live stream on Twitter.
Okay, let me see if... Okay, I don't want it to play in our DMs. Let's see if we can get it to open proper, and then I'll transition.
Okay.
So there, that should be...
I think I talked about in a previous show here, I talked about how I thought XXX was a symbol for, crossing out all three eyes. For total death.
So just to review that real quick while this loads a little bit more, Tracy was speculating, and I don't remember, if you want to tell it, it's better, because I mean the idea is, that your obviously your third eye would be your pineal gland right in the middle of your forehead. This is common symbolism across almost every culture, that this is your third eye here. And and I remember it tied into the idea that it fits into this whole one eye symbolism too, that they're showing signs of penalty. All the Illuminati photography that you see of all the famous people, like covering one eye and indicating one eye, is like, this is the eye I'm gonna get socked in or get cut out if I tell what's up.
Isn't X6 also numerologically, like, if you break it down?
X is 6 in numerology. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's 666.
Right. So XXX would be 666.
And you can find pictures of XXXTentacion with, they've crossed, they put the 3 X's over his eyes, in Photoshop on some of his promotional photos before he died. So, but yeah, so in this video, he's talking about if the Illuminati kills him, then if he's going to be sacrificed, then, well, at least his music, is there. And,
it's only 2 minutes, so I'll go ahead and roll it and just let it play here, Tracy.
All right.
Worst thing comes to worst, I fucking die a tragic death or some shit, and I'm not able to see out my dreams. I at least want to know that the kids perceived my message and were able to make something of themselves and able to take my message and use it and turn it into something positive, and to at least have a good life. I at least, if I'm gonna die or ever be a sacrifice, I want to make sure that my life made at least 5 million kids happy, or they found some sort of answers or resolve in my life, regardless of the negative around my name, regardless of the bad things people say to me. I don't give a fuck, because I know my goal in the end, and I know what I want for everyone, and I know what my message is. So I just wanted to say I appreciate and love all of you, and I believe in you all. Do not let your depression make you. Do not let your body define your soul. Let your soul define your body. Your mind is limitless. You are worth more than you could believe. All you have to do is dream, and all you have to do is want to fulfill that dream and have the strength to fulfill that dream. Pain is a sign of progress. When you feel pain, there is progress. I love you all. Make sure you have a good day. And I really wanted to ask, because I found that even when I was in jail and just when I'm home, I think about, and I hate to be cliche or to bring her name up, but I think about the girl that passed away, the girl that killed herself, that I wrote a song about. Hold on, sorry, I'm making a turn.
That may be the
I find myself
relevant
thinking
part.
about her a lot.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know. And of course now I feel bad grinning at this guy who's allegedly dead, and that hairdo, bro. You know that hairdo. What's up with that?
And then the idea that his message, he has this inspiring message that's going to make people happy, but it's all of his music is about either being suicidal or wanting to murder somebody.
Yeah, or the struggle to either take drugs or want to not take drugs and take them anyway. I'm sure, because that's just the theme, man. That's
So he's making
So,
a
yeah.
turn.
But okay, knowing what you now know, and then look at the way he's delivering this message, what do you think? I mean, because especially just this last viewing that we had just now, to me, it really seems staged.
it's canned. It's completely canned.
Well,
Yeah.
who says that they might be a sacrifice?
If I'm ever a
pretty-
sacrifice.
Yeah, it's pretty specific words. You don't just say, I'll be a sacrifice, unless you're going to be a sacrifice or you're trying to put that in somebody's mind.
I would say
Well,
most,
he's definitely trying to put it in someone's mind. So it's like, this is a meme, this is a trope, this is a joke. So it's so well known now that, like, it's in pop culture. So the record companies are making jokes about the Illuminati and killing their own stars, as part of the promotion, right? So maybe he did die, and it just so happens that this is, he was making a joke about it, or putting out something about it to try to promote himself, because this is part of the whole the persona of a rapper now, that you're a part of the Illuminati and that you're going to get offed at some point.
Was he elevated?
Yeah, go ahead.
Was he elevated just to be a sacrifice? I mean, was that like the whole purpose of his rise
Well, like
to
I said,
fame?
I only heard about him right before he died, and I
Yeah.
heard about him that he was gonna die. I wonder how many other people I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Maybe I don't know, but how
I'd
many
never
people
heard of
really had
him.
heard of him before?
Yeah, I'd never heard of him, and I know quite a few young people. I don't really turn on to much new music at all, but especially not new hip hop. But I still am around people where I'd definitely heard of Lil Pump. I'd never heard any of his music, but I'd heard his name bouncing around. And some of these other similar guys. So that's the other thing, is that to me it's like it's so confusing now to try and understand media, because what us as an older generation were used to was this: we were force-fed and had to be a passive receiver of most of it, and then if there was anything that was smaller time and kind of cult following and not so big, you had to go seek it out, man. You had to go dig through the record stacks or get someone to turn you on to a mixtape or whatever. And now it's like, how do we even gauge, where does this guy stand next to Prince and Eminem? So obviously we put Prince at the top, and then Eminem comes in my opinion, quite a bit lower, but still very popular. So where is this guy, and what's the places in between? Where is Paula Abdul between this guy and Eminem? I can't imagine the bar
I would
graph
put Paula
anymore.
Abdul above Eminem.
Me too.
So could you show if you scroll up on your Twitter, on the conversation you and I are having there, to the first picture of Tekashi 6ix9ine, where it's his tweet from January 25th about the Illuminati. $7.5 million.
Oh, you're talking about the one where he's signed into contract.
Yeah,
would you
just
show
try-
the people that?
Yeah, I'm trying to scroll up here carefully so we don't. I don't want to bust into all of our secret messages.
Yeah.
Harrison from the chat mentioned, what about, he mentioned Lil Peep.
Oh yeah, Lil
Wasn't
Peep.
I think that was 2017, but yeah, he's part of the team for sure.
So I wonder if I
A
could.
team of Illuminati sacrifices.
Can I open this in a new tab? I'm gonna try and open this in a new tab so we can make it a little bit bigger.
Okay.
See if that. See what is that, Jim? Did
You gotta
see
go
that?
down there to downloads. There you go.
Oh, but so it downloaded. It is not opening a new tab.
You're just gonna have to make the preview bigger, I think.
Okay,
It
yeah.
can't be opened.
Forgive my not as fast as I can be on Mac, folks. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. How does it look on the screen here? Let me.
This machine's a Coke and Sean's a Pepsi.
That's right. So I'm just going to read it. It says, right now I'm signing my life away to Illuminati for $7.5 million. Life is awesome. And
Look at his face.
Yeah, he looks
there.
like he's having fun, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does not look like he's having fun. He looks, well, he looks like he wishes he could hurry up and finish signing so he could go to the bathroom. And
Yes,
I wonder
he
who
looks
this
like-
guy is. Who's this guy standing there smiling, pointing his finger at him?
A manager or something, you know.
Yeah.
Supposedly. Didn't we make a joke on an earlier show? We referenced the meme of Kermit the Frog and someone has their arm on his shoulder exactly like that. The caption is, "This is the way your mom holds you when she's got that secret grip."
Oh, yeah,
When
yeah,
you're in-
yeah,
when
that's
you're
right.
in trouble but you're in public.
Yeah, exactly. You're being rude to your mom in Kmart, and she's like, "You go out to the car right now."
Yeah, it's like a sneaky way to grab your ear.
So, for those of you that
So-
don't know, this guy is up on charges now, and probably it looks like he's, you know, what they're telling us in the press is that he's going to end up doing like probably life in prison. You know, I don't remember what.
Oh, I think
for.
he got sentenced and he's not going to do any time.
Oh, I didn't even know. Really?
See, yeah, so I got some more headlines there. If you scroll down,
Okay,
I've
here,
got
I'll
more
close that and,
screenshots I've taken. So, yeah, he's not going to
That's
do any
good.
time after all. 4 years probation is what he got.
He doesn't look
And,
suited for jail. that
Then,
rainbow
but
hair.
before that happened, because the rape charge is several years old. So while he's signing the Illuminati contract, he knows that this thing is lurking in the background, and he's already made lots of jokes about it as though he doesn't take it seriously. And then he even this year put out a video with whatever her name is, Nikki. Anyway, it's called Fefe, I think.
Fefe, really?
Nicki Minaj. Okay.
Okay.
And so this video is like, it's full of pedo stuff. Full of it. It's overt. It's like they're at a carnival and they're licking ice cream and
Oh God.
anyway, it's all full of this pedo stuff. So they're making a big joke about how he's a known pedo. And then he, a few months after signing away himself to the Illuminati, he finally does actually get charged. And for a while there, he had that, deer in the headlights look in all of the photos
The court
of
photos.
himself in court. And
Yeah,
so he
yeah.
just looked like, oh, here it comes.
Well, in
But-
the chat here, somebody's saying that he's gonna do time for racketeering. So,
Wow, interesting.
because I know that was I saw the pedo accusations against him quite a while back. Because he popped up and I clicked on a couple links with the first few times I saw him because he was so repugnant looking. Like, what is
Yes.
this? What is this thing? With rainbow hair and rainbow teeth, and so that was coming out against him because you click on a YouTube video or whatever, and of course we all go directly to the comments section. That's like what is the audience saying about it, and that was piled in there everywhere I clicked on something about this guy. It was always oh, but he's a baby raper, or he was with underage girls or whatever.
Yeah, there's something about a 14-year-old girl doing sex acts on somebody, and he was in the photograph or the video, I think.
Yeah.
And he said
So
she was asking everybody how old they were, so I thought that she was 18. is what his defense was.
We got flawless logic.
Okay, so there's another weird thing that happened with this dude this year, and I guess it was in between
right, let's say-
the charges and
Worst thing
signing
comes
the
to
contract.
worst,
So
I
he got
fucking die a tragic
kidnapped.
death or some shit.
Sorry about
and
that.
I'm
It's a
not
different-
able to
it's a
see out
different,
my dreams. I at least want to know
Tab.
Where is
Vex
that
is coming
the
back from the
kids
grave.
perceived my message and were able to
Yeah,
make
back from
something
the
of
grave.
themselves
Where is it?
and able to take my message
Where
and
is
use
it?
it and turn it into something positive
Oh my gosh.
and to at least have a
Look
good
at
life.
Twitter.
I at least if I'm
Is that
gonna
Twitter?
if I'm gonna die or ever be a sacrifice,
No.
I want to make sure.
Good lord. Sorry,
So-
folks. That's
I
annoying.
was-
How did that happen? I'm trying to I don't want that to happen again. Where's the?
It's
video?
live TV, folks. Live YouTube.
Oh, it must be because it's the bottom one here, huh? So this, yeah, we need to pause this. I'm gonna pause this so that doesn't happen again.
Oh,
Oh,
Twitter
right.
makes it
Yeah.
play
Yeah,
automatically.
it's embedded. Twitter, you suck. Just kidding. All right, so I'm sorry, Tracy. Forgive me for not managing the content better there. So
Oh, hey,
you were
it's
talking
fine. No,
about
it's-
a different accusation against this guy altogether, and that's where we got interrupted there.
I was merely saying that he had another experience this year of the Illuminati and what how fun they make your life. So if this is true, not all staged, which actually is what he ended up saying about this incident. So he was, I don't know. And I have got a couple screenshots in there in the Twitter, but anyway, he was attacked, robbed, and kidnapped after filming a music video in Brooklyn. And so, followed by 3 men as he made his way home from the shoot, as he arrived at his house, it said that the attackers blocked his drive, forcing him in their vehicle. And then later, he comes out and says that all that was staged.
Really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And yeah, you can't in the screenshot you can't see the top of the headline there, but so in the article it says something about how he ended up in a hospital right after that situation, and that he
It was this one.
subsequently told the press. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't see what you're doing.
It
I
says
should check.
hospitalization was an inside job. Is that the one you're talking
Okay,
about?
so yeah, that's one. That's like part 1 of the article, and then I think I put part 2 in
So
there also.
It was like a Frank Sinatra Jr. style fake kidnapping.
Yes, exactly. And then it also made me think of Kanye and Kim
Right.
got kidnapped a few years ago, and he predicted that would happen too.
They were kidnapped?
Yes, they got kidnapped, and her jewelry was stolen.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing
yeah.
that happened to this guy. Okay, so they pistol whipped him, entered his home, stole $750,000 of jewelry, and $15,000 to $20,000 in cash. His daughter and her mother were at the property but weren't hurt. The rapper that escaped the car was helped to a hospital by a stranger. Okay, so
So what do they sell their own jewelry and then stage a fake kidnapping and get the insurance?
I have no idea. I'm just noting it's the same sort of scenario in both cases, and yeah, it's definitely weird. So yeah, and with Kanye, it was like they were in Paris, I think, at the time, and again, it was like afterwards they tried to play it down as that was no big deal. We took care of that.
Right.
But I remember Kanye, like maybe a year or two before it happened, had made a public statement saying, "I fear for my wife and daughter." And is North a boy or a girl? I don't even know.
It doesn't matter.
His child's life.
Maybe he doesn't know yet.
She's a girl.
Yeah, he hasn't. That
It's a
child
girl.
hasn't decided yet what it is, so we'll figure that out later.
Well, I mean, it is 2018. We gotta give North a chance to figure it out. Oh, and on another side note to all of this, this reminded me that in the
You're gonna need a
Jimi
compass for
Hendrix,
that, sorry.
the Jimi Hendrix biography that I read, when Jimi Hendrix built Electric Ladyland Studio, it was I don't remember if it was in, I think Harlem. I think it was in Harlem, and the mafia, the mob, and the gangsters were doing their business down there in that area. He intentionally put his studio in the poor part of town. And the same kind of thing that they like came and swooped Jimi Hendrix off the street, stuffed him in a car, threatened him, and told him they didn't want him to build the studio there, and that he didn't listen. And then that's when, if you don't know, folks, there's pretty solid evidence that Jimi Hendrix was murdered by being drowned with a couple bottles of wine, and not that he that he aspirated is the legend that we've all been told. It looks more likely if you look into it. I don't remember the guy who did the hard research. There's a guy that did some hard research and brought forth evidence. I don't remember the specific details. But so to me, that kind of, we can go that far back. This would have been 1970, because Jimi Hendrix was really big from 67 to 70. I always thought it was weird that his whole career was really only about 3.5 years long. I always compared him to, he's literally the Jesus of the guitar.
Yeah, I heard there was wine in his hair, and not vomit.
Right.
So he passed out and somebody poured it down his throat, perhaps.
But to me, it seems feasible that this type of roughing up, threatening, robbing, intimidating, it's probably pretty common in the world of criminal activity in general. But,
Right.
it doesn't have to be that you're Illuminati or famous or going to be big. It's just the idea that, okay, you think you're making progress into a gray area or what you know to be a black area, black hat area. The black hats are going to let you know what neighborhood you're in right away, They can beat your ass and rob you and say, expect that to happen again in the near future, because that's the way people act. And that, there's, the law is, I've got a bigger gun than you, or I've got more territory than you, or whatever it is, So...
Yeah, we talked about Sammy Davis. He got kidnapped and held at gunpoint for a little while a mobster sent by a film company tried to convince him to stop dating a white woman.
Yeah, and eventually forced to marry a black woman.
Yeah,
Is the story.
so
right?
yeah, I mean, this is the way I guess you get treated. But again, you're right. The point you're making is entirely valid, because in that instance, there was literally a mafia involvement there. It was a mafia person that was hired. Mafia was controlling the film company involved, which was Columbia at the time. So
Right.
it's because the entertainment industry is an extension of the criminal, criminal syndicates that operate in the United States, that this stuff is happening, to the stars. And also it is to a certain extent an extension of the intelligence community.
Right.
And those communities are all completely integrated.
Yeah, that just let's see here. I'm going to read you a Hunter S. Thompson quote. This is a famous quote attributed to Hunter S. Thompson. The music business is a cruel and shallow money trench, a long plastic hallway where thieves and pimps run free and good men die like dogs. There's also a negative side. So I'd say that's pretty poignant. And, those of you that are in the know on the conspiracy tip or have been watching the past shows, Hunter Thompson probably really wasn't a very nice guy. So he's speaking from a position of authority because he's one of the pimps and the money men hanging out in the plastic hallway. That's why he's saying there's a negative side, because he's probably on the upside of it.
He would know.
Yeah. I'm really glad in my life to have never truly pursued a career in music when we were young. I'm really glad to be able to say, hey, I don't owe Hunter Thompson or any of his friends any favors. They didn't do me any, so good.
Yeah. I was supposed to be in commercials when I was a kid, and I threw a fit when they were trying me out. Basically, there was a director that kind of pulled me out of line. My mother took me to some casting call, and I kind of got pulled to the front of the line, and they tried to make me do this commercial for some toys, and I just started crying.
Good, yeah, good.
I remember my mom was kind of upset at the time, like, well, that was going to be a sure thing. Why'd you mess it up? But I look back and I don't regret it, and I'll bet she doesn't either, because now we both know more about the business, and I shouldn't have been doing stuff like that when I was 3.
Yeah, the stories about Good Ship Lollipop, what's her name?
Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple are just terrible. There was a piece Joe Atwell did It wasn't. It's not on a big, well-known show. It wasn't when he was with Jan Irvin. I don't think it was a different show. But they were like punishing her by making her like sit in a box with ice or some shit. I don't remember specifically, but they were like, if she didn't perform exactly how they wanted, they literally were torturing her. And then there's a whole bunch of evidence of even back then in those black and white films.
Oh man,
There's really inappropriate video footage of them like with her on their lap in like the most sexualized and horrible way. It's just terrible. It's really bad. So to me, that's just referencing all of this crap. It's not brand new. It's not in the last 20 or 30 years. We're talking like we have video evidence of almost 100 years of this shit going
It's
on.
Keystone Hollywood behavior.
Yeah, it's you
What?
know.
What did Gibson, Mel Gibson say? It was diamond,
Yeah, I don't know. We could go to
caviar,
Oh.
cocaine.
I'm
Was
sure
that a real quote or was
No,
that fake
I don't
news?
think so. I think it's fake news. I've tried to follow that story up a few times, and I really think it is fake news. But it's still hilarious.
Caviar,
Yeah.
I
cocaine.
mean, well, hilarious if you
diamond
know.
steak.
There's to me that's the only way you can take anything away from all of this is that like if you're gonna look at it, you should be able to have a dark laugh because that's not. There's no upside to finding out the abhorrent behavior that human beings are involved in upon this earth is just not. I mean, other than what the upside is, if we know in the long term we can change this. You know, I don't think we're going to be able to go out and make arrests. I don't think QAnon's going to be able to live stream anyone being thrown into Guantanamo or executed. I don't believe that. I think that's all dramatic government LARP BS. But as far as true awareness in our minds of people, of all the people that are like us and like our chat, like, oh, we're looking at this, we want to know more, oh God, this is horrible. In the long term, we have the opportunity to change the way we think, feel, and act from here out in the future, to be more aware, to definitely not take our kids to casting calls, et cetera, you know. So, I mean, you could say that's an upside, that awareness provides us opportunity, at least.
Yes. And you were talking about the there's not going to be a live stream of the people being brought to justice like QAnon is indicating. Well, QAnon doesn't indicate that there's going to be a live stream. Like I was saying before, he's got his mouthpieces out saying, well, we're going to have our special coverage for you. And even though there'll be no evidence of it in the actual news or in any reality that you can experience, we're going to, in a YouTube video, tell you the behind-the-scenes truth about how Hillary Clinton's being waterboarded and confessing all of these things.
Yeah, and that, you know, just so you know for sure, I mean, that was completely sarcasm is exactly what I mean, you know, like, we're not gonna, you know, the revolution will not be televised, but we are gonna make a reaction video on YouTube for you, so don't you worry, you know. We're gonna make a reaction video to Hillary being waterboarded. Unfortunately, we can't show you her being waterboarded. Sorry, but here's how we feel about it, you know.
It's amazing though, like how many people take this stuff seriously. I would say that this is a very successful LARP where, you know, they started it on 4chan, they milked it for a year or so, and then they managed to you know, get your mom and dad involved, and
the boomers,
now they're all going to the Trump rallies with their Q shirts, and they all believe that you know, these trials are going to happen, and they're all cheering military tribunals and police state, you know, martial law, essentially.
That we, what, 2 weeks ago, or maybe not even 2 weeks ago, there was a cop standing next to a sheriff. Of course, sheriff now means someone dressed that looks like they're getting ready to paratroop into a war zone. You know, he's got a bulletproof vest, he's got, you know, banana clips and, you know, all this stuff, and he's got the Q patch. Did you see this in the press?
The guy that got reprimanded for having a Q patch?
Yeah. Oh, I gotta hold on. Let's take one step back. I gotta read this Tracy Twyman tweet. I'm not gonna read the whole thread, but in reference to Mel Gibson allegedly making statements about pedophiles in Hollywood, which we all pretty are sure that that's fake news. But Tracy says, and I quote, "I had never heard of high-grade caviar cocaine diamond steak before, much less that it was made of children."
Because because that's what the article that was being forwarded
right.
to us actually said Mel Gibson had said, which was, I think, an indicator that it's not really true. And there's tons of these. This is another feature of our modern world now, is that there's all these fake news outlets that they've got nothing better to do than pull up a different movie star or musician's name each day and write an article full of fake quotes from that person about how they're confessing and revealing to the world the pedophilia and other dirty deeds that are happening in their industry, and it's almost never true.
People are naive and they believe it, and it still adds. I mean, let's continue to build on the foundation you started with. It muddies the water. It makes people doubt that anything bad is really happening to the extreme that it might be, because when you're talking about high-grade caviar, cocaine diamond steak made of children, and then you say, "Oh man, did you know that they took the guy with ALS over to the underage sex island?" People put these two things together. Okay, so here's photography of the disabled person on the underage sex island. That's pretty good evidence if that's really where he is, if you can prove it. Wow, that's suspicious and weird. And you put that next to whatever I just said, high-grade caviar, cocaine diamond steak made of children. At this point, most people who are naive and trusting and don't dig deep, they're shutting off. They're done.
And there was a quote that these things were based on, right? There was, what's his name? The most flamboyant one that came out. The Corey
Haim?
Not Haim, but the other one.
Feldman.
Corey Feldman, and he's been doing that for years, saying, there's pedos in Hollywood, and I'm going to name names. One of these days, I'm going to name names. And then,
well, the backstory to why he hasn't named
Harry
names,
Potter also
right?
did it. What?
The backstory to why he never named names is that it's supposedly Spielberg himself.
Right.
And that's all over the website and stuff for where they do all these blind reveals. What's it called? Crazy Days and Nights website.
Time to spill the beans.
Spiel. It's true. But anyway, so yeah, Harry Potter. He said that he saw it going on, but that his parents did a decent job of protecting him, so that he was right there seeing it happen, but not having to participate.
Didn't Elijah Wood also said some...
No, yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's Harry Potter.
That's him, yeah, that's Harry Potter.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I was wondering, so we were talking about these guys that claim they're going to tell us the real truth about what, the military tribunals and whatever QAnon is doing. And they seem to have a relationship with whoever's doing the QAnon thing. And we've delved into this topic a little bit before, and I think it'd be great to do a year in review angle on it. What are the YouTube personalities that seem to have come out of nowhere and are all of a sudden really popular and making lots of money and setting the agenda, setting the narrative for us all?
Well, you've got Jason Goodman springs right to mind with his Crowdsource the Truth. George Webb. Defango. Quinn Michaels. These guys are all in kind of one little hub over there.
Had you ever heard of any of these guys before?
No. George Webb, I guess I can vaguely remember his name being brought up. I can't really say how long ago, but it seems like he's the one that I remember at least a little bit more, a little farther back, but not very far, not a year even, I don't think.
And so, Defango, had you ever heard of him?
No.
And Quinn Michaels, yes or no?
No.
Okay. I think I heard of Quinn Michaels maybe at the end of the previous year.
Yeah.
So that might be right, because I remember the guy that we had last week before you, he had shared a video of Quinn Michaels and Jason Goodman on I think it was on Facebook, and so that's where I found those guys. And that one video that he shared had a bunch of amazing information in it that I would have never necessarily learned I wouldn't know as much as I know now about Palantir, Craig Venter. You know, these Palantir. What's the guy's name? Remind me.
Thiel?
Yeah,
Peter Thiel?
Peter Thiel, like,
Okay.
and the word Palantir is the ball that the wizards are using in Lord of the Rings. That's where he named his company after.
Where you can see everything.
Oh.
And when you see these pictures of Trump with the Arabs and Bibi Netanyahu, where they're all putting their hands on this glowing orb, that's what it is. It's the Palantir
The
ball.
one that was predicted in the Simpsons art.
Right. So
Wow.
and his company is essentially that. You know, he's the guy behind.
It scours the whole internet for anything that you'd ever want to look for.
Yeah, this is how all of our personal data as regular internet users is being harvested and disseminated. The main guy at the top, his company, Palantir, that's Peter Thiel.
It's like a system that can scour everything, like closed circuit cameras and credit card.
Yeah, it's like
information.
Frankenstein AI / data mining.
Okay, so why does Quinn Michaels know things about this? And he keeps alluding to having inside knowledge about the topics that he chooses to obsess on. He's going around saying that there's AIs that you can interact with by tweeting to them.
Right.
Yeah. That's
And that QAnon is a manifestation of something like this. So the question really is just where do these guys come from? What's the agenda on YouTube right now? And notice a lot of them too they'll accuse each other of being agents. All of them seem like agents.
Yeah, all of
Yeah.
them are accusing each other of being agents at all times.
So that way they cross-reference each other and get each other more exposure. Because you say, Defango's an agent, Defango's an agent, Defango's an agent. And if you haven't heard of Defango, then you're like, oh, well, I better check out this Defango guy. And
Right,
then-
well, and that's what Jim actually listened to a little piece of a Defango broadcast the other day, and we talked while we were at work about the idea that Quinn telling his negative side of the story about Defango.
Jason Goodman.
Quinn and Jason Goodman saying bad things about Defango had already colored my opinion of Defango, having never heard him. So that then when Jim's listening to him, I'm like, I don't know about that guy. And then so we started to take it apart a little bit, and it's like, well, why? I trusted Quinn Michaels a little bit more when I first found him. Now I don't trust any of them at all. And so I realized, like, oh, this is how it works. This is what they're doing to all of us. Well, we can't trust Tracy Twyman. She talks on RX Only Picture Show, you know.
But do you remember how you got into this set of characters? You know,
I think it just popped up in my feed one time.
Yep.
It was Jason Goodman interviewing Quinn Michaels about the AI, the
Yeah, that it's all big circles, that they're
The
using a
circles, yeah.
hadron collider type.
and he was talking about Las Vegas having there's no way that the Hoover Dam could power all of Las Vegas because all the slot machines and all the casinos, they would drop so much power that there's no way that just the Hoover Dam could generate enough electricity to run all of Las Vegas, and that there has to be underground 0-point energy generators or something.
Yeah.
Some
If you never saw it, his stuff about Vegas, the AI, and how they're using it for crypto mining and generating electricity and all this stuff, it's all like this really far out, like almost like a movie plot, you know? Like all of the slot machines are secretly mining Bitcoin.
Yeah, they're
and-
running Bitcoin.
And there's underground hadron colliders, and they're using people's Fitbits to...
An Element 93.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it really seems like a Spy Kids movie plot. A lot of this shit does, you know?
So I'm more familiar, I would say, with Michaels than some of the other guys. But like Defango, I've only dipped my toe a little bit, but I've seen what the titles of all the videos are. And so wouldn't you say, like, Quinn has the weirder angle and the weirder topics to talk about, whereas Defango and Jason Goodman stick more to news and current events?
Yes, I would. And Quinn,
Okay.
like, more so than just weird topics, like, going out of his way to do weird shit. Like, playing with his stuffed animals, ringing singing bowls, and, like, just weird shit. Like, to me,
And his stuff.
self-defamatory almost. Like, what? Like, you're making yourself look stupid on purpose, you know?
And most of the time, it's so vague that you can't really figure out what he's talking about. So you have to watch video after video after video, and you think you're gonna maybe get an idea, but he never really ever really gets to the meat of it. I
Well,
think.
doesn't he seem to use this technique where he will inject something as though he's built up to it and as though you know what he's
Yeah.
talking about,
And you're like,
and
oh.
then he'll bombard you with stuff about it?
Yep.
And then you go back and watch some older videos thinking you're going to get to the root of what he's saying on this one, and it's all vague.
Yeah, totally got you chasing your tail. Because,
And do you recall the time phone hack?
of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so that was when I first encountered him. And it was during this time in the summer when I was being hacked. And so you say that the first time you saw any of these guys' videos was just YouTube shoving it at you, right?
Yep.
And that's what
Well,
happened to me.
For Jim, I
Yeah.
remember for sure that Quinn and Jason Goodman came to me through a Facebook friend, James Freed. I mean, I had him on the
Okay.
show last week. But, and then of course, so I don't know if they were in my feed prior to that or not, but I know that as soon as I clicked on that and watched it, all these guys show up. You know, it's not like I went and watched hours and hours. I watched maybe 2 videos of Quinn on Crowdsource the Truth,
Yeah.
and maybe went and found and subscribed to just his channel.
I think mine came up after Richie from Boston. I just let my thing autoplay sometimes, and the next video that popped up after Richie from Boston was a Crowdsource the Truth with this kind of crackhead-looking Quinn Michaels talking about high-tech computer
Well,
technology.
the amazing Mr. Leaky. Did you see any of that stuff, Tracy? The Mr. Leaky stuff?
I've skipped over the leaky stuff. Just, well, yeah, his stuff is detail intense, and so if I don't have time to really put myself into it, I won't. Plus, yeah, I'm so suspicious of him. I was suspicious in the beginning because, like I said, I was being hacked at the time, and everything about my internet experience was suspicious to me, that I was being shoved, or given something that whoever was doing the hacking wanted me to see. And so I assumed that Quinn Michaels and all that stuff, all the guys we just listed, they were all being shoved at me at the same time. But what was interesting about, he was talking about time phone hack, which he proposed, or he claimed that he had a cell phone that could call into the future, I think. And then
Right.
he said that, there'd been phones that could call through time since the 20s or 30s, I think he said. And I never took any of that very seriously. And one of the reasons why was because this was one of the messages that one of my fans had given me right before the hack occurred. And I totally suspected this person of being involved. But this person came right out and told me that I talked to him on the phone, right? He told me that he was calling from the future.
Wow.
Wow. What a trip.
So I got someone contacting me trying to shove a certain psyop at me. Then I get hacked, and while I'm being hacked, I'm being shoved Quinn Michaels videos about time phone hack.
Oh, wow.
And so it's as though I was being set up to be forced into this world of these YouTube psyops and these fake agent accounts that have been manufactured to be popular and to spread
To misdirect.
disinfo.
Yeah, you're to misdirect.
Misdirect.
Yeah. And it's that makes your whole story make a lot more sense, Tracy, because I know that you had brought it up briefly, but it was during, maybe at the very tail end, but when it's during, I remember I sent you a video, like on Twitter or whatever, like, "Hi Tracy, I'm real, I'm a real person, so, you can reply to me if you want to or whatever." But that makes a lot more sense now, and I think it sounds like what you're speculating is that they kind of tried to jump you into their gang, without you realizing it. assuming that you're naive or that you would knee-jerk reaction
And
to
talk
it.
about it.
Yeah, and so I mean, maybe if all they wanted us to do is talk about it, then I guess it's worked. But as far as you believing it, I'm not seeing results there. You know, I answered a comment earlier this week about all of our recent broadcasts. Somebody said, "How come you guys all follow the narrative as if blank is true?" And so I said, "Well, we really don't. You know, if you've watched enough of our stuff, we speculate all the way into the flamenco stuff. I mean, obviously, I'm a flat earther. Jim's a flat earther. We have the pegs set really wide, but."
Flamenco being
Yeah, if you don't
Fake-
know,
fake history.
flamenco
Fake
is
history.
the chronology of history being manufactured and completely false. If you've never looked at it, flamenco and the mud flood. But the point that the reason I said this just now is if we don't follow along with you, say you're talking about Frank Sinatra, the Mickey Mouse stuff, if we interject perpetually speculative theory, then it doesn't allow for the story to progress, and we're just interruptively pulling the whole thing apart. So if we go with whatever you're bringing to the table preliminarily, as we move forward from that point, then we can come back and say, hey, because like I saw Miles Mathis. Have you heard of that guy, Tracy? Miles Mathis?
Maybe.
Okay, so he's like a painter, and he writes these long PDF diatribes about his theories. But one of them is that he thinks the entire Manson murders was all a hoax, that it's all a staged ritual hoax, right? So
Yeah, okay. I downloaded that guy's PDF and I
Right.
didn't read it. I
So
remember
I
now.
mean, so I knew this when we're going over it, but I'm not going to interject that in the middle of you demonstrating your huge research. You know, it doesn't mean that we're going to avoid it necessarily. I'd love to look at every angle too, but it seems
Nor
like
does it negate those two things can coexist also.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
But my point being that with what we're seeing with like all the shit we were just talking about, these guys all literally hundreds of accounts popping up out of nowhere. They all have alleged credibility. They all have friends and enemies. They all have disparate data that you're supposed to already know something about. It just destroys dialogue across all of the conspiracy and or even just regular political. Because Goodman had Charles Ortel on there every Sunday talking about like the Clinton charities. So like that's really cut and dry, bland, plain, not conspiratorial. Like he's just pouring over legal paperwork. Hey, the Clinton charities are out of line. We're going to see something happen eventually with that. But that all bookends and dovetails with everything else we just mentioned. And so where do you wade in, you know?
Okay, so let's note then that I got hacked and death threatened as a result of finding so much what appeared to be trafficking material on YouTube to the point where there's no way that YouTube isn't involved in covering it up.
Right.
And then, and that included Elsagate material.
Yeah.
And it included, actually, I got on that whole trip by decoding stuff that I found in mainstream rap videos made by mainstream companies. So I found codes. I went and looked on YouTube for these codes. I found serious trafficking material. I found Elsagate material. And as I'm becoming immersed in that and telling the public about it, then I get hacked and death threatened, and I get these fake YouTube accounts run by agents shoved at me that I had utterly ignored up until that point. I had not seen any of this material from them. There was a whole angle on current events. There was a whole trope going, in alternative media that I was completely tuned out of because I was doing my own thing. And this hack forced me to pay attention to these guys. And one of the things I noticed right away is that they're all accusing each other of not only being agents, but they use the specific term gang stalking. So Quinn Michaels has accused DeFango of gang stalking him. DeFango has accused Quinn Michaels of gang stalking him. There's another lady who runs a channel that has very few subscribers now. It looks like she had another one that was more popular before. And she's called Truth Convoy. And she concentrates solely, or not solely, but largely on this topic of YouTube people who are agents and who specifically go around harassing death threatening, hacking, and doxing others. And so she accused Unirock of being part of that. And then Unirock is another one of these accounts, another one of these guys popped up. And so then Unirock is attacking. Apparently she was on his show at one point. And then afterwards she accused him of being an agent and cooperating with the people that were attacking her. And so then he comes out and says she's crazy and she's spreading libel. And one of the things she does is she's trying to, according to her, trying to find the real identity of certain YouTube personalities, such as she brought up Roy Potter, who's one of these guys that's been talking about QAnon and had a really big QAnon channel since early or late last year at least. So she says that he's involved with organized crime and she's got evidence of it. I don't know what her evidence is, but it's very interesting what all of these people are saying, because it's all in league with what I was discovering. And yet it's like I was being shoved in the middle of it. And once you become one of these YouTube personalities, you are shoved in the middle of it.
Yep.
If in fact there's any way to, come from where we are, which is we're legitimate people, making up our own content on YouTube, not influenced by anybody other than our viewers. And then there's this other world, what that seems to be produced by.
It's absolutely produced, and I mean, if people don't believe it, then they just need to take a closer look. And I want to make a comparison for you, Tracy, to everything that you just described. Okay, so I'm gonna make a quick description. Okay, so it sounds to me like you were doing your own thing, like you said, and they had to do like a sloppy job of jostling you where they would prefer you to be. Like, oh, fuck. Mess up her internet connection, grab her, and stick her over here in front of Quinn Michaels and all these other people, she's way off over here, and that's too close to the truth. So, or maybe usually they would prefer to groom you over into a direction if they saw you in an area that they don't like. They realize, like, whoa, way too far, too fast. Push Tracy over here, right? I would say, and so I would compare that to what I saw with Nikki Rapana. Nikki Rapana also, that's the woman who brought out the communitarian stuff, right? So this was, her whole stuff happened starting in 99, 2000, I'm pretty sure. But the same type of thing. So she's off on her own tangent. It's all sparked by things going on with her landlord in real life, like something's happening. She ends up helping him with research in a legal capacity, discovers all this internet research, and the same thing. She ends up involved in gang stalking, ends up with all this drama surrounding her with strange other personalities on the internet, doing lots of interviews with people that she preliminarily trusts but comes to not trust anymore, etc. So I would say I count that as like a pretty fucking solid evidence of a repeating pattern. We're seeing, we're seeing I call it paralleling when I talk to Jesse Waugh, that they want. So the parallel story is the one that Goodman and Quinn Michaels and DeFango and everybody else, they're talking about the same stuff we're talking about and the same stuff you were researching, but their leads don't go anywhere probably. Or if they do, they go to a limited hangout, minimized, like a booby prize, as opposed to, to a big serious problem, And
it seems like with Quinn, it seems like it's a setup for, maybe the next wave of sci-fi movies that they're going to bring out. Maybe this is a setup. Some of the things these guys are talking about, well, this is going to be, the mainstream news political narrative next year. So they're getting it started, it's interesting that this would happen. These accounts coming from out of nowhere and all of a sudden being popular and making money this year, when this is the year of shadow banning, and this is the year when YouTube gave up on trying to please its audience or its content producers, and they just don't give a fuck what you want. They're gonna censor and
they're rolling over
and make it unusable. Excuse me. They're gonna make it unusable. Like you were pointing out, there's ads everywhere. The Google search engine won't bring you the results that you want anymore. I find it very unpleasant to use YouTube these days. So all that shit's happening this year, and yet they're bringing out these manufactured accounts to bring you manufactured narratives, and they all sort of prop each other up, and at the same time they pretend to compete.
And
They take the money that would otherwise go to other people potentially, because it's all being aggregated. It's all being thrown at these 5 or 6 guys.
Crowdfunded.
yeah, and YouTube and Netflix and other similar platforms just keep getting closer and closer and closer together. When we can all remember how awesome YouTube was when it was actually content driven by creators. It used to be awesome, folks, before Vivo came out and took over all the music videos and jammed ads. I remember when they were like, the company's worth this money, but we have no idea how to monetize it. And now, unfortunately, we're seeing that they have solved this. They've cut the Gordian knot and figured out how they're going to monetize it. And the way they're going to monetize is that we all take it in the ass, and they just get what they want. And we can all run off to crappy other smaller platforms that we have something like freedom to do what we want, but the audience has been captured here in these monopoly heads, Google, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We might be able to name 2 more, but really that's it, right?
Yeah, I draw a blank now when I sit down to my computer to try to research current events.
Yeah.
I can't think of where to go.
Yeah. That's by design, of course.
Right, there used to be dozens, if not almost in the hundreds of sites for research folks that you would hit to try and find information. And now, you go, like, I'm sure most people end up landing on Reddit. If they're searching for something outside of regular social media, they land on Reddit,
Well, I remember when your sex trafficking videos came out, and I started watching them, and then I think, did you have a couple came out in one day? You had a couple videos. I got through some of them, and then I got interrupted, and then I think it was the same day I went back to watch them, and this it was the Sawyer the trafficking camp. They found this. It was a New Mexico.
So that came out the same day you were watching Tracy's videos?
I think so. I think it was the same day, and so I started watching that stuff. How they found this camp, and they thought that it was a sex trafficking camp.
The rape trees.
And there was rape trees and all that stuff. And then I went back to watch your videos, and they were all gone, and you disappeared like right at that time. It was like conveniently this big news story about sex trafficking came up right when your stuff came out, and your stuff was, I mean, it was intense, but there was no like, you were just opening up the question about it, you had all this evidence, and it wasn't like definitely we found something, like the news story was like, wow, we found this camp, and so I was like, wow, something is breaking, some news is breaking, and then your stuff disappeared right after that, and I kind of feel like it was on purpose just to take attention away from your stuff.
Yeah, maybe there's 6 other people just like you that we don't know about, and so they slammed Craig Sawman Sawyer in front of all of us talking about rape trees, and he's got a whole Netflix documentary series funded so this is all like guerrilla advertising, in my opinion, for his pedophile TV show that's coming out. So they take the real researchers, and Jim's apparently seeing it real time. They're knocking you down and force feeding us Craig Sawman Sawyer. It's crazy.
Yes. Well, okay, and Sawyer is associated with the character who calls herself Honeybee, and her real name is Melissa something. And when you look her up, you can get her IMDb because she's an actress and musician. That was her past before she got onto this, and as far as I could tell, got onto this year. Maybe it goes back further, but I've been having it shoved in my face on YouTube this year. And she was the symbol of the bee as it was something that the kids on the videos that I was watching, they were afraid of bees. It was almost like the bees represent authorities or something.
Right.
Okay, so Honeybee was the person running the Pizzagate forum on Vote, which is the only one that actually covers Pizzagate anymore, because
they knocked it off of everything
deplatformed everywhere else. And so Craig Sawyer and Honeybee, they're very connected. They do stuff together all the time. So also with Doug Hagman, who I mentioned before, though I don't think that the listeners could hear me when I was mentioning him. So Honeybee, yeah, she's an actress, and she claims to be a researcher on this topic, but she was running the vote for him on Pizzagate. And when I started putting my information there, right as it was emerging, right when those videos came out, she quickly decided, she told the readers that this was some kind of psyop, this was fake news, and I was trying to lead everybody astray, and then all my stuff got taken down off of vote.
Yeah, they're doing this. That's that GovLARP thing with Steve Outram. I tweeted at Steve and said, "Hey, your GovLARP thing's on point," and he came back and made a comment and tagged Craig Sawyer, and Craig Sawyer came back with a canned defamatory response to the thread I started against Steve Outram. He's like, "Hey Steve, it's not good to attack the good guys. What's the real story on bitchy Steve over here? Do you work for Soros or what?" You know.
It's so funny. They'll say that. They'll say like, "Oh, don't attack the people who are trying to do the good work here." And yet they themselves have their own list of people that they like to claim are, inside job people or agents. So, they're stirring up the pot themselves. And it's very interesting that the thing that Craig Sawyer was involved in, not only did it not get pursued by the police, but it really kind of disappeared from the media. And this summer, and a little bit in the fall as well, there were several stories about pedophile incidents, specifically like organized pedophile groups, and some of them were in Arizona, separate from what you're talking about. Like one of them is from Mesa. I still have it sitting here because I have it sitting here on my, I have all these windows that have been open for weeks and months, sometimes on my browser. And I won't close this one because I don't know what to do with it. Like it's the Google results and the search term is Mesa sex crime sting nests arrests of 24 suspects, Mesa, Arizona. Well, most of the links that came up on this search are dead now. So it was in local newspapers. There was even a local television news story that I had a video of that was online. And all this stuff went down, a few days later. So, and that's just, I have the evidence still there. I haven't closed it yet on my computer, but there were a couple more of those similar things happening.
Yeah. I would, Tracy, if you can, I would screen capture that, and I would copy paste all the text into something that captures hyperlinks, because it'll show you all the places that shit used to exist, just so that we have it for posterity,
We can do a backed up web hunt. What's it called?
Yeah, we could go to the Internet Archive and see if anything comes up,
Yeah.
Because if you go to my old blog from 2009, almost every single link I had there is dead. I mean, because I was doing this similar thing to what we're doing, and it was me and Nikki Rapana. We weren't doing any broadcasting because the internet wasn't really that fast then, but we were corresponding, and she was doing interviews, and me and her and other people. I mean, she was the juggernaut, similar to you. I think you guys are similar characters, highly intelligent, intellectual women in search of the truth, who are making headway like no one else is. There's not another person I can compare to you on the occult front, and certainly not that I can compare to her on the what I would call political synergy or the new political and legal paradigm that they're forcing onto us. Similar thing. But all those links are dead too. They're gone. All the stuff about like Peter Kawaja, Linda Kennedy, on and on and on, etc. I went back the other day because I searched something up and landed back on my own blog, and it's like there's none of the shit I was linking is there might be 1 out of 20. And I mean the links in my sidebar, not just a link that I'm adding randomly to an article. Most of those are dead too, but my sidebar, like, hey, if you like my stuff, go to all these, they're gone,
Yeah. Yeah, so it's easier than ever, it seems to me, for everything to be manufactured. And, now they've got AIs that can do it for them with very little human creativity needed.
In real time.
Yeah, they solved the problem that back in the day they thought was impossible, that they wouldn't have enough eyes on the screen and enough hands on the keyboards to keep up with us. But they've trained these AI robots to be, I think, more effective than we could possibly imagine. They're manufacturing pictures whole cloth.
Like the YouTube shooter, that lady that
Yeah.
went and shot
Yes.
That happened this year, didn't it?
up. Yeah.
It did happen this year, and that was one of the weirdest things ever. Yeah, that lady did not look like a real human to
I
me.
don't
No.
think she was.
It was very good though. I mean, it was super realistic, but just off just a little bit.
The different pictures I saw of her looked totally different too, like as though they had several different versions of her. But yeah, she looks like a CGI person. I don't even think.
Yeah, and her relationship to the backgrounds that she was in was just a little bit off, like video game style. You know how characters look pretty damn realistic in video games, but the way that they move and the way that they react with their environments, you can just, kind of tell that it's not real. And that's kind of the relationship she had to her surroundings, was just like green screened almost.
Exactly.
Hey,
Yeah.
I just remembered something, and I want you guys to. I want to show it to you in the audience.
Okay.
Okay. So Tracy, this guy here, the YouTube account I'm going to, his name is Civilian X, and I've corresponded with him a little bit in DMs and stuff. I found him during the Las Vegas shooting, and that, if I remember correctly, that happened this year too. Is that right or not? Was Vegas this year?
That was the previous year. Yeah.
Okay. So
At the end.
he did some amazing searching trying to determine the real facts behind the Vegas shooting, and he even took his own firearms out and did some video footage of comparing. He did something pretty bold. He went and hiked down a canyon and had his friend fire an AR-15 in his general direction so that you could compare the
ricochet sound.
Yeah, to the what you heard
the
in
whizzing.
the thing. But anyway, he jumped off the web for a little while and he just popped back up. And this video, I think, in 3 minutes and 21 seconds sums up a lot of what we've been talking about. So here I'm going to roll
3, 2,
it.
1, 3, 2, 2.
Hi everyone, it's your favorite fake truther here, where every day you come to watch and listen to me read fake news websites, fearmonger by telling you that the stock market is going to crash, and I tell you every day that Hillary is going to jail. And of course, my endless babbling trying to decipher the latest bullshit posted online by QAnon and WikiLeaks. Buy the tea. The link is below. Even though the video has already started, I'm going to show you a 30-second intro for no reason with needless music and graphics. After that, I will tell you some lies. Then I will ask you to send me some money. Buy a t-shirt. The link is below.
I love that he interrupts his own video with the ad for lies.
I wonder if Stevie Nicks monetized that.
It's sad to think that this really is a Stevie Nicks ad.
Before we begin the shit show, let's have a moment of silence and say a prayer for our King and Savior. Oh, King Q, ruler of the brain-dead sheep. Please give us another cryptic message to chase down the rabbit hole. We are really bored and we need more fear porn. We pray that Donald Trump is QAnon. We know you are working hard draining the swamp when you're not busy molesting your daughter. You told us Obama was locked up in Guantanamo Bay, even though he's been seen with Trump several times since. And we can't wait for Hillary to join him. We trust the plan. The storm is coming. In QAnon's name we pray. MAGA. Bicycle. Link is below. Okay, the moment you have all been waiting for. It's time for me to read an entire article from an alternative news website that's actually owned and operated by the mainstream media, but you're too stupid and lazy to research this for yourself. And I'm going to read it word for word, then ask you to give me some money. I could just provide the link and give a brief overview, but we all know you're too stupid to read it yourself. So without further ado, I'm going to read this article from my favorite fake news website called This Is All Propaganda and You're an Idiot for Listening to Me Read It.com. This bombshell was posted just today. I only knew about it because other fake truther channels posted it first. And just like you, I'm a sheep. This is proof the deep state is about to be dismantled by Donald Trump, and Bitcoin will emerge as the world's most used currency. Buy some Bitcoin. The link is below. Even though Trump is part of the satanic deep state cabal full of cannibals, and Bitcoin is just an investment vehicle controlled by international bankers. But I digress. Here's the article. Today someone wrote something on the internet, so it must be true. Okay, folks, there you have it. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And hit the bell so that you'll be the first sheep to be notified and you can come running for your next daily dose of bullshit. If you're a complete moron, click the link below and sign up to my Patreon so that you can pay me to confuse and manipulate you. P.S. Don't forget the flashlight. Blink, blink.
Blink, blink.
Did you recognize the flashlight?
No, I didn't. Please inform us, because I was miffed by that.
That's the sponsor for, I think it's the X22 show that does mostly QAnon stuff, and they always lead in with an ad for a flashlight that's also like a million different other things.
Yeah.
It's like a
Nice.
Swiss Army flashlight.
Oh, and the other
I know,
day...
and it's solar powered, so you know this light has to be shining in order for it to work.
Okay.
Probably it
That's
doesn't
hella
work
funny,
that
yeah.
way.
It comes with a free cordless extension cord. No,
That's funny.
I found, in reference to what you just said, I found the other day, sometimes I'll go see what the QAnon boomers are talking about. And so I went to YouTube and I searched QAnon, and I went to the advanced search features and clicked live, and I found a fucking 24-hour live streaming, and it's literally live. It's not reruns or recordings. They have organized 24-hour, an endless stream of people jumping on. They're rolling footage from C-SPAN and commentating on it. They're talking about everything, and of course,
It's like CNN for truthers.
yeah, CNN for truthers, and the link it's a 24-hour news cycle for gullible truthers, and the number of links underneath their description is just endless. It just goes on forever, and it's like the whole premise is that finally the regular people just got together and got organized and made a place where you could come find news. And I look at it and it's like, people believe this. People, just like that video we just watched from CivX, people believe like, oh good, thank God, we don't have to rely on CNN or Fox. People are just organically getting together and doing a good job of providing us our own 24-hour low-key streaming news. And it's like, no folks, they're not. They're absolutely a gov LARP. Someone is
info
completely
mush.
just getting our asses here for 3 hours once a week is kicking our butts, and we look and sound like shit and are disorganized, and like the damn Twitter embedded video pops off and screws up the whole feed for 5 minutes, and that's the three of us that are all pretty tech savvy and pretty smart. So no, it's not a natural, organic 24-hour truth or news site, folks.
Yeah.
Someone like Metatron Corporation or whatever is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep that type of shit up and going,
Well, it's like the InfoWars studio. They have this huge production studio for, it just doesn't make sense that it's organic. It's somebody, there's Time Warner money there.
Yeah.
Yes. The amount of content that these guys put out, okay, maybe I haven't seen behind the scenes of every one of these guys' productions, but, we've described how, you're right, how difficult it is for us to do what we're doing already. My computer is taxed completely to its limit here, and I'm behind on editing all of the stuff that I've already recorded. I'm behind on recording the stuff that I've slated to record. And I'm way behind on, I'd love to be researching new stuff, which I still do, but I've got so much other material still that I need to go over too, that I've been working on all this time. A lot of my stuff isn't even very much edited. Some of the stuff I only edit a little bit, but still, it takes quite a while to, find all the pieces you need, the music, the stills, the roll-ins, put it all in the program you're using for editing. Then you've got to render the file, which if it's going to be an hour or an hour and a half or even half hour, That's going to take a long time. And these guys are putting out, 3 or 4 of those each day.
Yeah.
And then I always have to convert it because you can't really, put a really giant file on the internet. So I got to convert, got to upload. You got to write a description of it, then you got to put that, announce it on Twitter and Facebook and all these places. These guys are doing all that. They've got to have a team of secretaries helping. And in fact, the personalities are, with the exception of Quinn Michaels, who is an interesting personality, but the rest of them are not, I'm not going to say they're not smart, but it's like they're not creative, so.
And writers.
So there's a creative person writing the content here and directing it.
Yeah, like we
Or a
sometimes,
creative AI.
yeah, sometimes we'll, Jim will throw on, what's the guy's name?
Call for an uprising.
Call for an uprising. And it's...
he mispronounces words that he's reading to you, and it's like he didn't even write it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just so candid. It has everything that little Civilian X video is talking about. I mean, his ads literally, it drives me nuts because his ads interrupt like, boom, like the worst possible interrupt. And I want to take a break here for just a second. Last time I looked, there was 24 people in here. Okay, folks, Jim and I have full-time jobs, and we're doing pretty good. But Tracy is a single mom out here really doing this. She is not a fake fuck wannabe that's signed up under some corporation. She's doing her best to bring you the most cutting-edge research, and she's bringing it to you on a shoestring. So if right here, I just switched it. This is her Patreon here. If you want to toss her a few bucks or sign up, the Plus Ultra Insider content is excellent. It's a cut above and beyond what you're going to get for free from her YouTube or from her website without it. It's $88 if you sign up for a whole year. You get a discount, and I totally encourage you to do it.
It's well worth
if
it.
you've got the money and you like this kind of stuff, you're into it. You're serious about learning more about the occult and inside baseball of all this stuff that we've been talking about, disinformation and intelligence agencies and cults and ritual abuse on the internet. Then toss Tracy some money, buy her books. We've got her books here, and I know this suddenly turned into, like a telethon, but I don't care. I mean, I've known Tracy now. I kind of kept bugging her on the internet, and she friendlied up to me, and I've had lunch with her. I can't say that there's any chance in my mind or in my head that she's fronting. She's not fronting. This is the real deal right here that you're looking at, and I know that other people are trying to say that's true about them. I'm saying I've maybe found 1 or 2 other people in more than a decade of looking around on the internet that I'm willing to send my money to and go meet and have a conversation with over a glass of beer or whatever. So, I mean, please, if you're on here, you're having a good time, you like this, I totally encourage you to support Tracy because you're just not going to find anyone else doing what she's able to do. So,
Thanks for saying that. And also, you could, if you don't like Patreons for some reason, we've got a premium content deal. It's the same deal. If you join Patreon, then I will set you up with a premium account on tracytwyman.com/plus ultra, which is where we put all this content. Or you could just join the premium program on that website, tracytwyman.com.
Yeah, if you go to tracytwyman.com, yeah.
And what you were just saying brings to mind something that I wanted to mention about the contrast between us or any legitimate YouTube content provider and these other guys, is that a normal person, even Alex Jones, a lot of people don't think he's real. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, maybe he was for a while and then isn't now, but he even has this problem, okay? It is difficult to remember to pimp your own stuff. And, especially if you're either really into what you're talking about, you don't want to take time out to upsell something. Also, after you've just produced a video, this always happens to me. Like I'll spend all day on something. I'll have it edited, and then it starts to render. The file's rendering. I know it's going to take like an hour and a half to render, and then I'm like, fuck it. I forgot to put my URL. I forgot to tell anybody about Patreon. I forgot to encourage anybody to give me money in any way. I forgot to even tell them other things were available from me. I forgot to even tell them who I am. And it's like,
well, it's true because they call it a rabbit hole for a reason. I mean, you know,
Yes.
if you start copy pasting citations into Google and then following up, God forbid, in a real library, you will forfeit your soul to the game of trying to find the truth. And some people live for it. That's why we're out here. You know, it's fun, and it gives you a level of spiritual enlightenment that I don't think can be found any other way. You know, some people get stuck in it and get stuck in a loop, and they become paranoid and kind of like, you know, end up cloistered. And so it's dangerous too. It's dangerous to search out meanings in books and to cross-reference ancient documents and have them translated. It's a big, fun, scary game. But I mean, that's why I'm here, because I stepped away from it when I first found that stuff way back in the day for about 5 years. The joke I say to people is that I slammed down a big handful of blue pills and I could keep them down for about 5 years. And then one day somebody on the internet said that satellites are fake, and I started looking into what the hell that was supposed to mean, and boom, I woke up again. And here now I'm a flat earther on YouTube talking to Tracy and Jim about just what we can remember from 2018.
Yeah. I think we covered at least some news stories from this year, right? We did a little bit.
I mean,
I mean, we didn't cover any international news or the stock market or anything, but you're already going to get that from MSM, right?
Yeah, I was thinking there was one other big story. I mean, obviously, we're not going to sit here and talk about Russia, folks. That's too softball for what we do. QAnon's probably about as close as we get to talking about Russia. But I thought there was one other, like, pretty major story, and it's just slipping my mind now, that was, like, big time, you know, like Fox News, CNN type press, and I just can't remember.
Is it on one of the lists that we
Yeah,
had?
that's what I was trying to see. Where's my tab for Twitter here? Did I accidentally? I'll just go back to Twitter here. There we go. Oh, it's slow. Yeah, and you talk about making yourself paranoid. Last night we spent almost 4 hours probably trying to work out all the bugs of our on a shoestring, the stupidest soundstage studio Jim and I could possibly set up and make work. And then we get Tracy on the line earlier. She goes to take a break and do a little bit more searching before we go live, and the whole thing just grinds to a halt.
Oh, yeah.
Like we open a browser tab and it's just like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah. We did a speed test and it was like snail.
Yeah, so we had to we rebooted the whole show. That's why we were about 30 minutes late, because we just rebooted everything, crossing our fingers that we're not going to end up with an echo.
Unplug, plug back in, turn it off, turn it back on.
So what type of story was this that you're trying to remember?
I don't know. I was trying to I'm back inside now here, so let's see.
Was it Cambridge Analytica?
No, go ahead and talk about that though, because that's important.
Oh, I mean, I don't know.
That's really important though. That's what ties this all together, is that
it kind of does.
It's data mining. I just remembered something I've been meaning to say to both of you guys for a long time. Have you guys read
Say it while you remember.
Ender's Game series? Have you read Ender's Game, the series of books?
I read the first one.
By so Ender's Game, the author's name is Orson Scott Card. Okay, if you go read those books, not just the first one, but read like the first 3 or 4, they describe what we're seeing in the world. They describe it. These two really brilliant kids, actually there's 3 of them. There's a brother, there's two brothers and a sister, and the sister's name is Valentine, and Ender is one of the brothers, and the other brother becomes what they call the hegemon. So he through the internet and chat rooms and message boards and video feeds and news feeds, he takes over the entire world and becomes the hegemon. Wow. And it's him and Valentine, his sister, who are doing it, and they're taking on pen names on the internet and playing both sides against the middle to be able to coalesce everything into one big, new world order, whatever you want to call it. A new world order. But the most fucked up thing, I went to look up Orson Scott Card on the internet when I was reading these books. And because I just do that. This is something natural to do, right? Like, okay, I'm reading this guy's books. Who is he? He's a Mormon. And I get down to far enough into his Wikipedia page, and I shit you not, he identifies as a communitarian politically.
Wow.
And that's the story of communitarianism, is that they're going to polarize the left and right so hard.
Everything gets grouped into
eventually they provide you a solution, and you transcend the left-right paradigm, and you synthesize a new paradigm. And it comes from Hegel, from the philosopher Hegel. But Hegel, people call it the Hegelian dialectic. Hegel never meant it that way. He saw that
Right.
as an actual natural process of the world we live in. And these people take it and they use it like a baseball bat, or like giving candy to a kid to get into a van. You know, they use it as a problem, reaction, solution, but it's contrived. So that just blew my mind that we're living it now. You know, so I recommend it if you really want to compare what you're going through in real life on the internet to something that was published. It's got to be at least 15 years ago, right? Probably more. I don't know when Ender's Game was published, but they
my dad had it on the back of the toilet in 1984, I think, or
Yeah.
86.
And, you know, and like the other book that you pointed out, I went and listened to that on audio, Tracy,
Neuromancer?
Neuromancer, yes, but I was talking about the next one, Snow Crash.
Yeah, Snow
Holy
Crash.
shit, Snow Crash is an unbelievable work of fiction, but Neuromancer, Snow Crash, everything by Philip K. Dick, William Scott Card, all of the foreshadowing of the world you're living in now is inside the science fiction books in the past. And it's there, not like a little bit hinted, like it's there in acute detail, like all of it, you know. So I didn't want to forget to mention Ender's Game. So
That's really strange. That it sounds like it's just the sort of same thing with the you were talking about Huxley. Like they write a dystopian novel about the future that they themselves are plotting to create.
yeah, that's what they do. It is, and that's what I try and tell people. Like people say, "Oh my gosh, Orwell would be so disappointed," and I tell them his real name's Eric Blair. He wrote for the Leftist Book Club. He was a communist who helped to win the revolution in South America, and when he found out, his legendary story is that when he found out his name was on the kill list, he changed his mind and decided to write against totalitarianism. It's bullshit. Eric Blair, a.k.a. George Orwell, was one of them. He was just foreshadowing. He's presenting
Predictive programming.
Yeah, he's creating the neural pathways in your brain for this to be acceptable when it happens, where they wouldn't have existed prior.
Sorry to interrupt, but don't scroll down on that again. Like, take that off of the screen, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought.
There's a thing that I would rather people not see.
Oh, I don't think it was on.
No, it's that's
I know I won't even say what it was.
No, that's not being projected onto the web right now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm trying to be real careful. I understand why. I mean, I'm in our DMs, so I don't want to project it onto the web.
I had stuff with my account info on it.
Yeah. No, I'm.
Good call.
But thank you for saying so, because I don't want to accidentally do anything like that. I was just looking for that picture that I. Oh, it's up here farther.
Sorry, I interrupted you, by the way.
No, it's fine. That's fine. I'd rather you interrupt me and make sure that we don't put your account details on the internet. So. Oh, I guess that was the mainstream story, was the whole Justice Kavanaugh Supreme Court shit. So I have something interesting to say about that. Okay, so if you haven't looked up the video that some people think that Kavanaugh and his accuser, Blasey Ford was her name, right?
Oh yeah.
That maybe we should load it up, huh, Jim?
Oh, the photographs.
Some people think that it's the same person.
You know,
wow.
It's kind of a weird thing. It's like you have to go through a humiliation ritual to get into the Supreme Court. Like what happened to what's his name?
Clarence Thomas.
Clarence Thomas. Yeah, the pubic hair on his coke. It's like a weird humiliation ritual.
It is. You're right. I can't remember the last one that got in without having to go through that. I guess Roberts had a relatively easy go.
I wonder if it has to do with their political bent.
Yeah, Sotomayor. Nobody gave her any trouble. Not really.
That we know of. Maybe there's I think there's like a Family Guy or something where, in order to get in, they have to pick an egg up with their butt cheeks and carry it across the room.
Now do what now?
There was a joke on Family Guy, I think, where they had to.
Supreme Court Justice?
Yeah, what's her name? The female Supreme Court justice. She had,
Sotomayor.
Sotomayor or
yeah.
Bader Ginsburg?
One of them had to pick up an egg with her butt cheeks and carry it across the room without breaking it, and it was it kind of made me think that maybe there is a humiliation ritual sort of thing, like a hazing, to get into the club.
And that kind of, so we've got the top and the bottom. If you're a little SoundCloud rapper, you might have to put up with some kidnapping, some robbery, some allegations of inappropriate sexual behavior, some shit like that. If you're at the very tip top, maybe you have to have pubic hair put on your Pepsi can,
Maybe
et
you have
cetera,
to
et cetera.
accuse yourself of sexual misconduct.
Yeah. I thought I found it, but I didn't. Do you remember, was it Enter the Stars? Do you remember which site it was on? Which video?
Well, you can just put pictures of them next to each other. And
Yeah, that one clip of videos was so good, though. It really
I
was.
think it was, gosh, who was it?
It's either Enter the Stars or...
Might have been Enter the Stars Reloaded.
And this stuff isn't on the stream, right?
Yeah, I know. It's just us, right. I'm still doing the
Okay.
searches, so I didn't want to switch it over yet.
All right, you're gonna switch it over when you find the thing.
Anyway, so what we're saying here, folks, is that and this is an example. What I'm doing, I am going to switch it over here so people can see the example here. Okay, so we're pretty certain of what we're looking for. Enter the Stars. Maybe if I put that in quotes, it'll help. I'm pretty sure he's a flat earther. He's another conspiracy hoax revealing type. He's de-occulting things.
Look under video for the tab, man.
Oh, I think I might have just found it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the.
Oh, she's the
Family
one that has
Guy.
to hold an egg in her butt?
I think so.
So I'm going to just
Let's
try
see.
Kavanaugh, and I know I spelled it wrong. Blasey, Ford, same person, and let's just see what comes up.
Oh, yeah, we might have to watch this Family Guy video if you don't find it. It's pretty funny. 53 seconds.
Well, you're not finding it because it's not letting you.
Yeah.
So remember, a couple of years ago, the AI didn't mind. It was showing off, and it would say, "Hey, I know exactly what you're getting at here."
Yeah, it would bring you the exact video, and that's what they've gone 180 degrees on the dial. Like, well, if you're searching for something and it's not on our special list, then
Look at this one.
then maybe you'll never find it.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely changed something. They got the AI super smart so that, and I'm specifically talking about the Google one,
Type
so
in-
that it can read your mind, and then they made it. It's still reading your mind, but it's just not going to give you any information.
Okay.
I found it by saying Family Guy Ruth Bader
Oh,
Ginsburg.
let's search on YouTube, not in Google. Yeah, we all become experts of all these little nuanced ways to search for things because we know we're being deflected, and we just accept it, and now we're conditioned to do it. When it used to be that you could, way back in the day, you better be damn careful what you search for on the internet. If you use the word teen on the internet in 1997, you're going to be in a bad way. No matter what, you could type teen pregnancy, and that's not what you're going to find back then. You're going to find bad things,
Search for Family Guy Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Ruth. Okay.
There it is.
So here's an example because we couldn't find the other one.
It's the 52 seconds.
This one, how to become a Supreme Court justice. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna pause this and make sure it loads up. Hold on, Meg. I'm gonna make it just a little bit bigger for the audience here. Go to the. Does that still look okay?
I can't tell if it's. Oh yeah, that's probably okay.
You think it's okay? Well, I don't know.
You concerned?
Well, I don't want it to be cut off. Whatever we're trying to see here. Dang it.
You could probably. What? Yeah, I don't
You
know.
could chance it because we're getting pretty late in the hour here.
We
so
are.
it's-
We're getting
Yeah,
along.
you're right.
Well,
It's
Connie,
almost the end of the show
don't
anyway.
you make one of the cool guys ask me to the winter snowball. You're holding drugs so someone will invite you to a dance?
Meg, haven't we taught you better than that?
Now, hold on, Lois. Now, people do a lot of crazy things just to be accepted. I don't know about this.
Hey, we all did it. If you want to be a Supreme Court justice, you got to pick up that cherry with your butt cheeks and drop it in that beer.
Come on, come on, do it. Go, Susan. Go, Susan. Go, Susan. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
And he drank it.
This guy is so in.
Oh, sweetheart, I'm sure all the boys want to ask you to the dance. They're probably just shy or scared.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's what made me think that you got to go through some sort of humiliation ritual to become a very respected justice of the United States Supreme Court.
I think I don't know. It seems like it's consistently a theme, right? I wonder how far back, because we're familiar with the modern stuff, you know, like where TV and big media is out here. But what if we take the line to be like, all right, let's go search Supreme Court justice appointments from where we, like, say we start with Clarence Thomas and go back. I mean, there's not that many of them. If we go all the way back, I'll bet you we'd find evidence of weird shit.
Maybe we should look into that on a future show.
I think Tracy's right. I think we're probably getting to the point where it's 11:27 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's a good.
Should we wait until 11:32 to end the stream, since it's our 32nd episode?
So well, folks, go ahead.
I was just going to say, maybe we forgot everything that happened this year because there's a hypnotic suggestion in the song that you're supposed to sing at the end of the year that tells you to forget everything.
Oh, yeah.
Old Lang Syne.
Hey, well, maybe we should play Old Lang Syne. That way we don't have to.
Yeah.
That way we can have this show again, and we don't even have to try hard because we'll naturally remember to do it one more time, and we won't know why.
Yeah, folks, we're gonna be taking next week off, and so we'll be back on January 2nd.
This is the last fix of RX Only Picture Show, including Plus Ultra, that you're gonna get in 2018, and that's why it's the year in review.
And we wish everybody happy year and happy holiday spirit and stuff, Christmas, Hanukkah, what have you. I think. You know.
Yeah, I think that's good enough. You know? Oh wait, hold on. What's the? There's a pretty awesome African one, Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa.
We don't want to forget Kwanzaa, and of course, then there's the one from Seinfeld. I can't think of it. Festivus. It's Festivus for the rest of us.
Festivus for the rest of us.
I still celebrate Christmas. All right, so well, I don't know. I say we all give the camera a big wave, say okay, bye, and I'm going to put Auld Lang Syne on the screen. Okay, bye.
Right.
We'll see you guys next year.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Tracy.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Old Lang Syne. I thought it was Old Ang Syne.
Phew, thank God, 2018's over.
Oh man, what a year!
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?
I'm forgetting everybody I know right now.
A little bit of MK for us all.
It's a big cup of leaf.
It's a lethal cup of leaf.
You have any resolutions? I told you my resolution.
I'm not gonna spill any beers.
I don't usually make New Year's resolutions, but we do have a plan to strip off some of this. It's the cliche resolution to strip off some of this extra holiday weight and thin up, and get some exercise and improve our diets. That's our plan.
What about the run about the Braves? Put it on the Gowans. How do you do that?
I don't know if I've heard all these words before.
What that is?
We've wandered a money weary fish. This must be like Irish or something, huh?
Sounds like it. What's Old Lang Syne?
The translation's in parentheses. Yep, Patty in the stream from morning sun till dying.
Dinner time?
I'm getting
Getting teary-eyed.
the broads are right.
I think this guy killed it.
Very good.
Hey, thanks for coming out, you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for showing up. We love and appreciate you. We also have a Patreon at Sonio, Patreon/Sonio. That's SCWNEO, and we do have one patron who we appreciate. And of course, if you give us money, we're just gonna put it into this show and increase our chances to continue to work with Tracy. And
There's a couple buttons down there. One's a thumbs up.
yeah.
There's a
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, or do.
There's a subscribe button and a thumbs up.
And don't forget to click the bell.
Click the bell.
And buy a t-shirt.
That's right.
And buy a t-shirt.
The link is below.
And Patreon. RX Only Picture Show. Patreon.
Buy a white shirt and write that on it.
So seriously, you don't even have to buy it. Just get like a stained old white shirt and a Sharpie and write RX Only Picture Show on the front and write Plus Ultra on the back with an arrow pointing any direction you want.
That's right.
And then take a picture and we'll put it on our Twitter.
Yeah. Well, if you do that, we'll take the picture and we'll print it on a t-shirt.
And subscribe to Plus Ultra.
That's right.
And Tracy, what's your Patreon again?
It's Patreon/Tracy Twyman, I think, something like that.
/Tracy Twyman.
No
Patreon.
R. Twyman. Tracy R. Twyman.
Tracy
R.
R. Twyman. We
I
are
have books
very
on
happy.
Amazon too.
What's that?
Some of them are even. I have books on Amazon. and some of them are
Absolutely,
still
yeah.
Oh yeah, great books.
Tracy is a prolific author, folks. If you're not aware that that's her main calling card, she is an unbelievable author, and I've read a lot of her books, not all of them. So I would encourage you to start there.
Go buy Clock Shavings. Right now, there's some great deals on it. If you can find it, it's an excellent book. Or Genuflect, or Money Grows on the Tree of Knowledge.
That's a great book. So. All right, one more
Thanks,
time.
guys.
Okay, bye. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye, guys.
See you next
Okay,
year.
bye.